ribbon tomorrow and the golden helmet on Sunday. So 3 big meetings, and that's good for the crowd that make a weekend of it. We've seen a lot of people coming over from the UK and really all over the Speedway community for this weekend, and it's a big stage for these young lads to perform on, and there's a big prize at the end of it. Now, who is set here? Who do you see? We have Drabic leading the standings, but he did have that crash 3 weeks ago. He did ride last week, so he has made his comeback from that. Smektala has been really consistent. You've got Frick, the defending champion, who's in terrific form, and Kurtz and Lambert waiting to pounce. They're the 5 that are the most likely at this stage. But the other thing to mention is that this round ran last year, in fact, as round 2, and Dimitri Berger, who's way down the standings this year, actually won it with a huge total. So it's a kind of day where anyone can come forward on the night.
Dimitri started off with a pretty strong first round. He got 14 points and he got 5, or he got 9. He's only got 14 points total is what he's only started off with 5 and 9. This is one of those tracks where a rider like that can actually go out there if he gets the setup right, as I've mentioned. He can just go out there and storm and show everybody that he knows what he's doing, and that comes a little bit down to luck as well. But the heavy hitters of the day, as you've already mentioned, is the Poles have got speed in their equipment, and I can't see anybody really going out there and dominating, but it could happen. All the top guys, the top 4 or 5 guys you've already mentioned, all have a chance of you going out there and flexing their muscle. It's going to be who doesn't make any mistakes, I would say.
Well, Berger scored 19 here last year, which is a really impressive total out of 21. But interestingly also, Max Frick scored 18, and that was a result which really put him in pole position to win the series. It was round 2 of 3 last year, so he'll feel good about it. I know Brady Kurtz has been talking with real confidence about this meeting, so they're feeling good about it. And the one thing to flag up straight away, Heat 2 of tonight's meeting features Smektala, Drabic and Lambert, all in Heat 2. That's a real early clash of big guns there.
It is, yeah, and that will be a bit of a leveler right there. They'll be chasing then after that one. When you look down the field, obviously we know that Maxime Drabic was in stunning form. He got hurt the last time out. He's recovered from that. This racetrack right here isn't going to be a very physically demanding kind of a track. You're not twisting it in really tight corners. You can let the bike do the work. So it's quite important that you kind of put that away and rely on getting out of the starts. But then Smektala, the guys, I think he's, as you say, he's the most consistent rider so far in the first 2 rounds, scoring equally 15 points both times. If he carries that on, he's going to be a tough contender. Robert Lambert, he was started the series off with an injury, and that's settled down now. So it's kind of an even playing field, I would say.
Gustro was a night where several of the contenders would have felt they should have ended up with more. Smektala, even himself, who won the event, he started off with a crash and didn't score in his first ride, and then incredibly we saw both Drabic and Frick crash out in the semi-finals, again costing them points. Here is confirmation of how things stand then overall, and a reminder, if they are level for top 3 positions overall after tonight, then there will be a runoff for those positions. So Drabic on 31, Smektala on 30, Frick on 28, Lambert and Kurtz on 24, and that is where we think the realistic cut-off is. We're not going to write anybody else off. We have a storming night and score 21 points, and others have bad nights, but realistically it looks like those 5 are the ones who are going to be contesting the title here. Anybody from lower down catch your eye there, Sam, that could? We saw Verena rode well in Gustro, and also Jack Holder has done well in Poland on big tracks this year.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Jack Holder. I would say he's got the talent. He's probably underachieved so far. The first round, I thought he did quite well, but
he had a nightmare in Germany.
Yeah, and when you have a nightmare, the effects of that are the scores aren't very good. 17 points, he would love to have a lot more. So he could be a threat, but all those top guys, they know what they got to do when they get out there on the racetrack and get a good start. Don't do nothing silly. Unfortunately, that second race is loaded, so you don't want to get a last place, that's for sure. You want to try and get a second or a win no matter what. Robert Lambert, the British rider, will be definitely trying to make sure he's coming out of gate 3. It's a long way to the first corner where you got Smektala coming out of gate 1. So the writing's on the wall. These riders would have been studying the program to know what their challenges are going to be, and gate positions it could be a gift around this racetrack. And another factor too, I mean, it's a nice evening. It's not too hot. Which if it was really warm, they have to put a lot of water on this racetrack, and that could just be death if you happen to get a graded track with water on it. It's really hard to get all that start. It's a long way to the first corner. Even if you're coming from gate 4, you gotta go all the way across all the other riders to get to the inside. They'll tend to get a little bit of a dirt line kind of just off the inside of the racetrack after they have a couple of races where the riders might get a little bit more drive just off the inside. But to protect your lead, if you make a start, I would say pin it on that inside for the first part.
There's Edward Crutchmar, who is a home man here tonight, but was frustrated in Germany, yards away from placing the semi-final before he crashed in his final ride off the final bend. But he's a rider who is better than what we've seen so far in the series. And the wildcard, incidentally, is Patrick Mikel. Patrick Mikel is the wildcard local rider. Actually rode a wildcard in this meeting last year. Didn't have any great success, but he'll be hoping for better this time around. And a reminder also of the format for this event. It's basically Grand Prix format, Grand Prix Speedway format. So top 8 after the 20 qualifying races go through to the semi-finals, and then the top 2 from each semi into the final, and all the points count towards the series. So you've got to keep yourself going in the meeting. Make sure you get a maximum of 7 rides, because then there's a possibility of 21 points at the end of it. So it's absolutely crucial to keep on going, and it's likely to be the case that overall series won't be decided until the very end of tonight's meeting. They're that close in amongst the top 5 that you would expect certainly 2 or 3 of them to be going right to the end, and we could have quite some finish here tonight.
Well, I'm expecting that. You just can't really say which rider's going to stand out. Obviously, the force coming into this event, it's pretty obvious that there was some interesting big points scored from Maxim Drevic straight away from the word go. But that little bit of a clash he had at Gustro on the fence just got his nose cut off a little bit and had nowhere to go, ran out of room, smacked the fence down the straightaway. And when that happens, you got to pick yourself back up and still stay positive and hope that little bit of cushion he's got with a couple of points in front of the rest of the crew is going to help you. There's Hans Nielsen in the picture right there. We were on the plane with him. Still excited about it, Speedway. Loves to help out the young boys. Hopefully he's going to be able to help his Danish rider there in the picture get a bit more points. He's not really been doing that.
Yeah,
so far.
Patrick Hansen certainly needs an improvement. He's only scored 7 so far, and Hans is still very keen to get the youth through the Danish system, which has not been happening, of course, too much in recent years. They've kind of stagnated, but still talking very enthusiastically about the sport, and of course had a very trying World Cup, very brief World Cup campaign, but actually quite amusing, Sam, to watch you and Hans reminiscing about old times earlier on today, and bumping and barging 24 years ago for the world title and all that.
Yeah, well, we were walking down the hallway. Next thing I know, I got my elbow lifted, and I look, and it was Hans coming into the show that he was there. Yeah, really cool to hang out with him.
So about to get underway here in Pardubice. Max Frick is the first of the title contenders who'll be going out. Here are some of the scenes that we saw from Germany in the wet 3 weeks ago. They all did superbly well to get this meeting run without any moans and groans, but there was all sorts of drama, particularly towards the end of the meeting. And you mentioned Maxim Drevic, Sam, and the fact that he lost points with the crash, but the good thing is he didn't miss too much racing. He rode last week in the Extraliga final and scored well in a losing cause for Roslav, and the crash he had, which you'll see shortly on the home straight, and it was directly below us when it happened. High speed, scary stuff, and it could easily have ended his season. Yeah, he was a lucky boy to come out of that one, and if he would have just been one way or the other, it could have been a lot worse. Even though it was a very spectacular, that was up in the box, us and that one there. But the boys had to battle with hard conditions, and as you said, nobody really complained about it. They just got on with the job. This was some of the action towards the end of the meeting. There was the crash, and it was, as I say, it was scary, and every time you watch it, it was more and more frightening. But the drama was far from over at that point, because then we lost Max Frick in the other semi-final, and the final itself was the most spectacular of battles involving Smektala and Kurtz, and there's the finish with Lambert just about going through, and that took about 17 replays to sort out who would come second. Yeah, it was a pretty nice evening of racing, that's for sure. Certainly everyone was still buzzing about that final sometime after the event, and wanting to watch it again to see exactly who'd made which moves. But there were some big movers from that meeting, and Maxim Drevic had taken a 6-point lead into it from his 21-point maximum in Poznan, but that has been cut down to 1 as far as Smektala is concerned, and down to 3 as far as Frick is concerned. So it really is all to go for here in Pardubice tonight. Wherever you're watching around the world, a very warm welcome. Hope you're looking forward to the action as much as we are. If it's the first first time you joined us this year online, you're very welcome, and hopefully you'll enjoy the action as we bring you all 20 heats, 2 semi-finals and final, and the crowning of the world under-21 champion for 2017. Who will follow in Max Frick's footsteps, or will it be Max Frick himself going for the double? And that would be quite some achievement. Not many have done the double. Emil Saifedinov and Darcy Ward in recent years have done so, and Max Frick going in yellow in Heat 1 is a man who could do that here tonight. There is Yevgeny Kostigov in white, who had a good first round in Poznan, not so good in Gustro, and Edward Kruchmar looking to make an appearance here, the Czech Republic rider in front of his home crowd. Alexander Vrentin rides in the red helmet colour, and he is off the inside gate in this opening race. Only 8 points so far in the series for him. Kruchmar goes in blue, and he has got 11 from the 2 meetings, so there are all manner of mechanical issues along the way. Kostigovs goes in white with 15 points so far, and Max Frick is on the 28-point mark in the series. He goes in yellow. Crucial way to make a good start, Sam.
Absolutely. Just look how wide that track is. I mean, the riders aren't even have any chance of elbow to elbow unless they're right on the white line. So there's plenty of opportunities, and the track is fairly hard. The practice went well, like I said. They've groomed the track. There's a little bit of moisture in it. It won't give these guys extra drive. It's going to be a matter of getting out of that start and holding your line.
We have a British referee here tonight. Christina Turnbull is in charge of proceedings, and she's about to set things up for the opening race to go away. And Frick will try and come across on the outside in yellow, but it's Kruchmar has made it in blue, and Vrentin gives him a shove, and Kruchmar out of shape, and that might allow Frick to run around the outside up the back straight. Vrentin just with the advantage, but Frick goes round him into the third bend, and he took advantage quite neatly there because Kruchmar had made quite a good start. Now they're all queuing up behind Vrentin as Kostigov tries to send one down the inside. He moves through into second, slightly overshoots the corner. Kruchmar trying to come back. All action stuff in Heat 1, but Max Frick out in front.
Yeah, really good to make that start. Just shows how important it is, but it gives the current world champion plenty of breathing room now to get out there and really stretch that bike, test his setup, make sure it's working well for him.
This is exactly what Max Frick wanted from heat number 1, to get 3 points on the board should he do so in the remaining lap and a half or so. And while Kruchmar had made a good start, but got a shove there on the first bend from Vrentin, who's been trying to get himself back into play. It's Kostigov second, and Kruchmar has now come to a halt as they start. Well, no, he's got going again. Did he miscount there? I think Kruchmar may have miscounted the laps there. He knocked it off as they went over the line, and now it's got going again whilst he was chasing Vrentin. So a couple of points drop there, but it's going to be a good win in the opening race for Max Frick, making it from the outside gate. Frick with the win. Second is Kostigovs, third is Vrentin, and Kruchmar under full power comes over the line in last place. That's not the start to his meeting he wanted. He made a good start, but out of shape on turn 2 after a possible nudge from Vrentin. We'll see the replay there, and whilst all that was going on, Max Frick took his chance, got a fast line around the outside, and took the lead into bend 3. So the defending champion is off to a winning start here in Pardubice. Frick with the win, second place Kostigovs, and third place Vrentin.
Yeah, not a bad start at all, being able to come from that outside gate, and that's just going to give him the insurance that he knows that the bike's working quite well. Remember, I mentioned to you, sometimes right up against the fence or right up against the white line, you get a little bit of moisture there. It just might help the bike get up. Yeah, that was a big nudge right there, but that's fair play. That's exactly what this track's about. When you're both tied going in the corner together, your only chance right there is to give him a little bit of nudge. There's plenty of room. The track doesn't have any major kind of inconsistency in it whatsoever. If anything, it's perfectly consistent. Right there, that was a big bump, and that unsettled him. There's no doubt about that.
Max Frick took advantage, went round the outside, and just about into bend 3 there, gets above his rival.
Yeah, I think Max had his eyes straight on making the start, keeping a mid-track line, and his bike worked perfect for him.
So it's 3 points on the board for Max Frick, who moves level on points with Maxim Drabik at the top of the standings. Of course, Drabik has a ride in hand, and that ride in hand comes in a blockbusting Heat 2 on paper with Bartosz Smektala, Patrick Hansen, Robert Lambert, and Maxim Drabik, the lineup, so that we have 3 key contenders in this race. Smektala on the inside, Drabik on the outside. Throw in Lambert in white, who certainly got his eyes on a medal, at least in the series, and this could be quite some race.
I would say Maxim Drabik will feeling like he's got half an opportunity, especially coming, he's up there grooming that outside box right up against the fence there, looking to see if there's any possibility he'll be able to get in that groove and let that help him. Smektala, though, on the inside, again, there's not much on the surface of the starting grids. They're all pretty even. It's going to be a drag race to that first corner. It's going to be quite interesting to see what happens when all 4 of these guys get there at the same time.
We've seen Smektala make consistently good gates throughout this series, and he has the inside gate here, and his Polish compatriot as far away as he can be off the outside, but throw in Lambert in white, Patrick Hansen in blue, who's not really shone in this series, which was a surprise. Expected him to do better than he has.
Hans Nielsen in the pit, though, so they might have a little bit of encouragement there to make that gate 2 work.
Absolutely. Heat number 2, a big one here with Smektala, Hansen, Lambert and Drabik, 3 of the contenders clashing very early in tonight's final round. Heat number 2 then gets underway. Drabik flies off the outside gate, Smektala off the inside. Hansen did make a good start, the rider in blue, and it is Patrick Hansen who race leads over Drabik, who's got the better of Smektala. Hansen lifts wildly out of control, and through on the inside goes Maxim Drabik. They're all queuing up behind now as Lambert tries to follow him through, and Smektala has gone to the back. It's Drabik with the advantage, almost neck and neck between the remaining 3 as they go into the second lap, and Bartosz Smektala trying to work his way past Robert Lambert, but Patrick Hansen, the wildcard here, effectively made a great start and holds second place.
Yeah, it's a shame that he lifted too much, but that lift actually gave him a little bit of drive. He just went a little bit too far, had to roll the throttle off, and that gave Drabik the opportunity. He had his wheels on the ground. The speed was being built up the whole way down that back straightaway the first lap. He got him to it, but there's still a battle going on the inside with their Lambert's coming up into second place. He gets there and holds on to it. He's come back to the inside. He's got to cover the ground. Hansen is still there. Gets him back going into turn 1.
Well, did Hansen go over the infield there as he tried to get back on Lambert? If he didn't, it's a great repassing move, and I'm sure the referee will want to watch it again. These are big points being taken off some big riders here. It's Maxim Drabik around the final bend with what could be a massive victory as early as heat 2. Drabik wins it. Hansen is second on the track. Third place is Robert Lambert, and Bartosz Smektala at the back. It was a very firm repassing move there by Hansen down the inside into the final lap, and there was a lot of chalk dust kicked up as he did so. But as long as he kept at least one wheel on the circuit, then that'll be okay. And it has taken points big time off both Robert Lambert and Bartosz Smektala. Drabik gets the dream result out of heat 2. He wins it. His main rivals coming behind Hansen.
Pretty amazing that both wins have come from that outside gate, but it's not just been because of the actual gate that got them there. It's just the position that got him down the back straightaway. In this incident, Patrick Hansen's bike lifted a little bit. He made a superb gate, lined up really close to the guy in gate 3 in the blue helmet color. The Dane gets himself in front. Coming off this corner, the bike just grabs a little bit of traction once he steers it up right there. If he could just held that down a little bit, he had to roll the throttle off. It pulled him wide, left the door wide open for Drabik to get in there. The pole then snitched that, stole that first place going into turns 3 of the first lap. As the race got going, this track's very inviting, Dave, I can tell you. There's no real defined curve. It's just got a white line. There, right there, Hansen's bike lifts a little bit too much, and that gave the opportunity for the pole to get underneath him, get into full speed by the time he got into turn 3. But then they started exchanging blows. This is the Great Britain rider, Robert Lambert, gets himself into second position, overcooks the corner just a little bit, try to get back out of that inside there. But Hansen had his own mission. He stepped right up on the inside.
He just keeps the back wheel on.
Just keeps it on. The idea is not to let that back wheel go over the white line on the inside curb. If both wheels go over, you're excluded. He got a little bit of drive underneath there and took that second place back.
Well, Lambert could do no more then because he made the move on the inside on bend 3, but he couldn't go any further for fear of running into Drabik, so he had to hold it when he did, and that gave Hansen the chance to come back. Good battling for second place there in heat 2, but as I say, Hansen taking big points there away from 2 of the more fancied contenders. Now, heat number 3, a bit of an Australian clash on the inside with Jack Holder and Brady Kurtz. Kurtz will be trying to make up points here. Dimitri Berger, the winner of this event last year, he goes in white off gate 3, and Casper Verina, who has made the final in Gustro off the outside in yellow. So another interesting clash here.
Absolutely. Jack Holder, I don't think that inside gate's working so good, and Kurtz will be wanting to make sure he can, he's up against the guy in gate 3 as well. So that's going to give him a good opportunity. Once they drag race into the first corner, he can get his arc into the corner, maybe clamp the guy on the inside.
Holder, Kurtz, Berger and Verina falling free. He jumped there by Kurtz, but he may have punished himself. The referee lets the race continue, and Verina comes steaming across on the outside to take the advantage, with Berger trying to make it round Holder off the second bend. But Verina race leads from Holder. It's Berger in third. Kurtz definitely jumped. He may well still get a warning, but the race continuing. Christina Turnbull quite rightly viewing that he punished himself. himself. The race continued, and Casper Verina off the outside gate has the lead.
Yeah, the nerves are rattling there for Brady Kurtz. He didn't want that to happen, and it looks like he's got plenty of speed too, but the race still goes on. Holder's trying to sneak into second, and he clinches that one right there, so it's not a bad race so far.
Dimitri Berger is forced wide off the fourth bend. Kurtz trying to come back in and make a challenge, but Berger has got plenty of speed off the second bend. He's trying to get back around the outside.
He does.
Jack Holder, good stuff here in the early stages. That's a fine ride there by Dimitri Berger to move back through into second place. Way out in front is Casper Verina, and they're still battling for second place with Berger holding it over Holder, and the Australians in the end are being outpaced here with Holder in third place and Kurtz out the back after a nightmare start, and it will be Casper Verina coming round to win heat number 3. It's Verina over Berger, it's Holder in third, and it's a nightmare start for Brady Kurtz, who begun the meeting on 24 points with a realistic title shot. Well, those hopes have taken a big hit with only his heat 3 in tonight's meeting. We've seen some fancied contenders not scoring points in their opening rides, and you can add Brady Kurtz to that list. All went wrong at the start there. Verina with the win, second Berger, and third Holder.
Yeah, Berger rode a smart race. That was race 3 of the first round. The dirt's just starting to pile up a little bit, just off the line there, and it gives them a little bit extra drive, and their back wheel just kisses that cushion. But out of the start right here, that was a real no-no right there for Brady Kurtz. Just jumped a little bit. He suffered big time for that one right there, and had to play catch up the rest of the time. Holder on the inside, tried to secure a better position, but couldn't do it. The pole Verena gets out in front by the time we get there. There, right there, we see the 101 on his back with the blue helmet color. The Australian makes a big, big mistake. Tried to anticipate the start a little bit and got caught, so he trailed in the last place, pretty much finished there at the finish line, but still a great race for the rest of the boys. The Frenchman really put on a good show there on the outside, and made that might work.
Is that what that is, isn't it? I know Casper Verina is a very popular rider, and I know his UK family are watching tonight. Kyle Roberts, who worked with him last year at Coventry, and Casper is back in the UK with Poole next season, and he'll be a popular man there. But definitely has had a good year with Ribnick in amongst their eventual relegation from the Extraliga, and off to a good one here this evening. Now then, heat number 4, Patrick Mikel off the inside, Andreas Leaga off gate 2, Dominic Kubera goes off gate 3, and Lucas Fienhager goes off the outside in yellow. So these are some of the riders some way adrift of the lead, although to be fair to Andreas Leaga, who goes in blue, he rode very well indeed in Gustro, picked up decent points in that meeting, and he is on 19 at this stage. Kubera is on 17. They're riders who are may have a shot at a medal, but they need to have a really good night's work tonight.
Yeah, well, just point out the fact that the Dane Liger is starting again right up to gate number 3 on the outside of box 2. And obviously there's a little bit of groove there, and the riders have sensed that's going to help them get to that first corner. It seems to be working from that gate 2, and gate 4 always seems to pick up the pieces at the end of the first lap.
Lucas Fienhager on the outside. This time Dominic Kubera in white made quite a good start as well, and he is battling there with Leaga into the first bend, 3 abreast off the second turn, and it's Fienhager who has emerged with the advantage. That's a bit of a surprise. He race leads around turn 3 and 4 with Dominic Kubera in second place, and Andreas Leaga in third with the wildcard Patrick Mikel out the back. But Lucas Fienhager has found the going tough. He found it particularly tough in Poznan in the first round, but made a great move there off the second bend, and he's out in front.
Yeah, it's smart race actually. I mean, on that outside, the track's getting a little bit of extra grip right about mid-track, and that's just an advantage that you have when you start from the outside gate. As long as nobody gets in your way, as Fienhager did, he got himself down that back straightaway and just pulled away from him. Again, another win from gate 4.
Andreas Leaga is trying to regain second place here off Dominic Kubera. He calls it title of the fourth bend. Good move there by Leaga to go through into second place, dropping Kubera to third. He'll try and hit back on the last lap. Can he switch back off the second turn? And Mikel is at the back, but still race on here for second. Looks like Leaga has it for now, but it's going to be 4 wins from the outside gate out of 4. It's Lucas Fienhager taking the flag.
Both wheels over that one. I've seen that one. Yeah, I don't know. I was watching that. It just looked like Cabero just got both wheels over the white line.
Yeah, we might have a look back at that, see if the referee agrees with you on that one, but it's certainly going to be a win for Lucas Fienhager there in Heat 4, and that will do his confidence the power of good after a tough series so far. Only 4 points across the 2 meetings. Leaga in second, Kubera in third. We'll see if we see that final bend again. Certainly they are trying to hold it tight, and Kubera would have seen the fact that Liaga had gone past him in that fashion, tight on the inside on the previous lap. So, but he has been given third place there according to our captions, and we'll see if there's any replay of that incident. But a good ride here by Fjernhager off the outside gate there in yellow.
Yeah, again, Liaga gets into that, in the blue helmet, gets into the first corner, puts his front wheel straight over the curve there. Then all three of these riders are side by side coming down the back straight, but just the dirt just on that outside line right there helped that Fjernhager on the outside, and the bike then drove him down that back straight with plenty of speed, and it was enough for him. And again, that outside gate seems to be working. It's just the nature of the track. It's such an easy arc, and the riders, they just got to keep the bike nice and stable, get the back wheel up on the paw print, so that means stand the bike straight up as much as you can, and the bike will start to drive forward. Here's
the move by Andreas Liaga. Very neat move indeed, actually, up the inside there on Dominic Kubera. And he goes through into second place as a result. It's just how close they get.
Yeah. So it's a fairly easy racetrack for the guys. There's no real big dramas out there. So it's just important right now to chase the setup. The track will change, and if they have to put some water down there, you just got to be wise to the fact that that could happen. And again, it comes down to we know that Gate 4 is kind of dominating at the moment, but I would say that it could be because of the good riders that are on it. The track is helping them a little bit. It's that slick on the inside. They're not getting much grip from the starts right into the first corner. So that little bit of dirt on that outside has been the recipe for success so far.
No sign of any water going down just yet. No. We've got three tractors grading, but no actual watering taking place. So we've had 4 races, one rider piece. Max Frick, Maxim Drabic, Kasper Verina and Lucas Fjernhager are the 4 race winners, and the overall standings, well, it has made quite a difference. Drabic now has a 3-point lead overall with 34, Max Frick on 31, so that 3-point gap is maintained. But Smektala has lost ground, he's on 30, and Lambert and Kurtz have also lost ground, 25 and 24. So we started with 5. Effectively, we may be already down to 3. We'll have to see. It might be a bit early to say that, but because you can still reel off a string of victories. But certainly, Lambert and Kurtz have got work to do, as they say.
Yeah, well, that's what a championship's all about. This is the final chance for these guys. This is the final round of 3. Every point counts, and if you have a bad race, don't drop your head. Continue on. See what happens, because every one of these riders can be a victim of different conditions on the track, whether it's start position, whether it's somebody accidentally slipping off their line or wouldn't give you a nudge. It's very difficult. It's not the kind of track where there's a really tight apex where a rider can get a nice bump and the referee can see that as that bump is what caused a rider to fall down. To get a bump here, it's almost like the reaction or the result of that bump, it's pretty obvious that there's still plenty of room. There's nothing really going to get in your way. Obviously, it's going to disturb your line and upset your drive, but it's not going to really put you down on the ground unless it's a really big clash.
The tractor's going around now. Is this effectively going to put the track back to how it was in the first place?
All it does is it means that the first race will be pretty even compared to the third or the fourth race of this round. This is the second round now, so the first race or 2 will be pretty even, but then you'll start getting a little bit of dirt kind of mid-track. And the difference of it is where, as they're riding around the track now, and they continue to ride around the inside lines, it kind of polishes up and makes the ground fairly hard. And what little bit of grading they're pulling over that hardness right now, without any water on it, and that would even spoil it, I would think, a little bit more. It doesn't have anything to adhere to, so it's going to be like riding on marbles in effect. So it's just you have to be really precise with your line. Make sure you're blocking everybody out that might have a little bit more grip or a little bit more speed than you might have, and just kind of follow the leader for the first part of this first couple of races. But once that little bit of dirt starts appearing and the track gets slick and there's no marbles on it, let's call it, from the grading, then the outside line starts working a little bit better.
Be quite a while before we see Maxim Drabic on track again. He's out in heat 8, and that's going to be a tough one against Max Frick, Kasper Verina and Dominic Kubera. So a chance for some of the others to try and pick up points in the intervening time. Smektala needs a good one. He's out in heat 5. He's got Berger for company in that one off the outside gate. So that one might be might be tricky. Robert Lambert's also got the outside in heat 6. He'll be up against Andreas Leaga, Jack Holder and Edward Krutschmar in that one. So Drabik after the 21-point maximum in Poznan. In fact, now, Sam, we are getting water on the track. Goodness me, we have. You can probably see on the right of your screen, we have one of the enormous lorries going round, and the way they spray these circuits on the continent with the water coming out of the front, it attempts to ensure a fairly even spread and gets the track water very quickly. So that's cool.
It's nice now they put all the grade of the shell back over the top. Over the slippery line. Like I said, if that water now will go in there and embed that, and hopefully after a little bit of time it would adhere to it. It might just help them out. It's very difficult, but that's all about learning the craft, is understanding that these conditions now the riders are going to be faced with. If you want to be world champion, this is how it is. You know, you can't have that dust, you know, going out and spraying over the fence and affecting the crowd, because they're here to watch and hopefully have a clean you know, they go home being clean. So, you know, this is all part of the game.
Yeah, and it's something that we perhaps don't always take into account, that when you're trying to work your way through a World Championship meeting, you have to look at the draw, look at what you've been given, and particularly races immediately after track grades where the circuit can change and you don't get the chance to look at a race or so beforehand. It's all a case of working your way through, and sometimes you can be unlucky with a draw and go out several times after a track grade, depending on what meeting it is. Generally that is not thought to be something that you like doing. But as you say, Sam, in a 3-round series, they've had to contend with all sorts of different conditions. The track in Poznan was tough after a big thunderstorm in the afternoon. Güstrow, I thought the track rode superbly after the rain, but it was still a wet, murky night. Visibility was not easy at times. And tonight, something again completely different. But again, if you're going to be a world champion, you have to be the best in all disciplines.
This is a little mini Grand Prix series, isn't it? 3 rounds, and it's important that you just focus on what's in front of you. And right now they have a fairly big racetrack where there's not any big apex, so there's not going to be any nice moves of somebody doing a huge, big, tight cutback and coming under the inside and somebody drifting a little bit wide. It's all about poetry in motion, I would say. All 4 riders will try to keep the speed up all the way around for the 4 laps and just try to pick whatever advantage they can. And the first part of this race now, going into heat 5, after they just groom the track, put a little bit of water down, is get out in front, make sure that you don't overslide the bike. And here's a factor, which cost me a golden helmet one time. That concrete on the inside where the white line is actually all concrete just inside that white line. So if your front wheel hits that, going into the corner, if you happen to put your front wheel over the white line coming in, it's more slipperier than the ground, and your front end speeds up and it can put you down, and I was a victim of that. So that's another point, that you just stay away from that concrete, because the water has been sprayed over the top of that as well as been sprayed over the dirt.
So that came in the final of a golden helmet?
I was leading it. It was mine, and going into turn 3, I just touched that wet concrete, and the front end just went straight away from me, just like that. It was that easy.
List of good riders have certainly won the golden helmet. It's a really popular invitational event that takes place once a year. It stood the test of time on the calendar, whereas a lot of individual meetings have not, aside from the major events that carry on taking place. But this is a major event in its own right, and it's a big weekend for the riders involved. And to start the weekend with this event is very good indeed for the under-21 series as a whole. It's got a good crowd here in the Czech Republic, and we've seen some good stuff in the early races as well, and the title to be won here this evening. Heat 5 with the riders on track, and it's 2 on the trot for Lucas Feenhager, who rides in red after a win off the outside gate in his first ride. Well, let's see what he can do now off the inside gate. Alexander Vuentin goes off gate 2. Bartosz Smektala off gate 3, and Dimitri Berger off the outside. Smektala did not score in his first ride, and he certainly has to score here.
Very surprising the young Pole didn't actually make any points in his first ride. He was a heavy contender to actually clinch this thing, looking on the paper when you get into this final round of this series. But with Feenhager on that inside, coming off that gate 4 in his last race, he was pretty much gifted that. His challenge now will be, you can just see the glazing of the water that's been put on the racetrack just to keep the dust down. These riders got to contend with that. On that outside gate right there, the Frenchman, Biaggi's got an opportunity, a little bit of groove there. But once these guys jump out of the start, their back wheel will start spinning as they're trying to race to get into that first corner. And then once they get into the corner, the bikes then slip a little bit again. And it's such an easy arc. You don't want to overturn the bike, but at the same time, you don't want to lift. We've seen what happened to Hansen, the Dane, when he lifted coming off of turns 2. He lost his forward motion, and he got past.
Berger, last man to come into line off the outside gate, did look quick in his first ride, and as I mentioned, rode very well here last year to win the event. And Smektala knows he needs points in white off gate 3. Heat 5 then gets underway, and Smektala in white has made a good start. Berger trying to come across from the outside, but Smektala it into the first bend with the advantage, and Lucas Fernhager goes through on the inside. Incredible. He won his first ride, and now he's come through on the inside off turn 2, and he leads Bartosz Smektala with Berger in third and Brent at the back, and this is totally unexpected. Lucas Fernhager had a nightmare series up to this point, the youngster. Well, he is now heading home. Bartosz Smektala, who got very close there off turn 2, but can he find a way through?
Yeah, Smektala's not done right there. He's cinching up that inside. The track will dry up. Every time they go around each corner, it gets a little bit drier the next lap. So there'll be some opportunity there. So Fernhager's going to have to make sure he covers himself quite good. In the red helmet color, gets a little bit of drive off too. That's going to help him get in there. But I can see Smektala's under pressure now.
Yeah, Berger has gone round Smektala. Smektala rather hemmed in second place. And now Berger is making big lines, going wider and wider. And I think he could get Fernhager here as well on the final lap. It's Fernhager with the advantage, but Berger in second with lots of speed. Smektala in third with not the speed I don't think he would want here tonight. It's going to be a bad start to the meeting for him as they come round turn 3 and 4, and it's Lucas Fernhager to win Heat 5, and second place Dimitri Berger, third Bartosz Smektala, title contender. Bartosz Smektala has only scored 1 point from 2 rides so far. That's a nightmare opening for him, but what a start for Lucas Fernhager. Amazing to win 2 out of 2. The 18-year-old, the German, whose father was a long track expert, but he's shown very little indeed in the series so far in this sort of competition. But what boy, oh boy, he's shown something here tonight. He wins Heat 5 ahead of Berger and Smektala.
Impressed. Remember I said right now you got to grow in stature to it. At this point in this series, you got to take all the elements. They groomed the track, put some water on it. Gate 1 has been absolutely useless so far. This Heat 5 right here, Fernhager makes a really good start, gets himself in front going down that back straightaway. Smektala then has to deal with the fact that he's not getting any extra traction. He's up that inside. They're all waiting. Here's another view of the start. Pretty even. I would say Smektala had the advantage getting to that corner. But to hold that down, the bike will start slipping right now. The back wheel is just hitting that little greasy bit. Can't get the back wheel to hook up anymore and has to settle for second. But then he ends up getting relegated again. He just not having his evening's not going his way.
Well,
at all.
Many people were saying before tonight's meeting Smektala is the favourite. People were saying Drabek, Smektala, Frick is in good form, but a lot were saying Smektala. And after 2 rides, things have turned quite drastically against him. Not all over yet, but he's going to need a big turnaround the right way if he's going to turn his night and his title aspirations round here in the Czech Republic. Heat 6 is next up. There's a bike swap going on the home straight with Robert Lambert changing machinery and now moving into line on the outside. He also needs points here in Heat 6. He's got Edward Kruchmar in white off gate 3. There is Andreas Lager in red off the inside, and Jack Holder goes in blue.
I would say Lambert might be in a nice position. He's starting kind of inside of gate 4, where everybody's been starting right up against the fence out of that gate 4. And you know, he might think if his bike's fast enough, he might have an opportunity here, but he won't have his own way. Jack Holder coming down, the Australian in blue, might be thinking he's going to have to, but Hansen, the Dane on the inside, will have some inspiration, thinking that inside gate might have worked for the last race. There's half a chance for him.
All 4 into line then for Heat 6. Andreas Lager inside, Holder gate 2, Kruchmar gate 3, Lambert off the outside.
Jump again.
Gets underway with a possible jump there from Lambert, but he missed it anyway, and it's Holder who has the advantage over Andreas Lager with round the outside. Kruchmar off the second bend to move through into second place. So Jack Holder with the lead. It's tight for second and third as Lager tries to go back through on the inside of Kruchmar. He's done so. He might try and go from third to first, but the speed for Kruchmar around the outside. And now Holder is being attacked from all angles. He still maintains the lead for now, but Andreas Lager on the inside makes it through, does he not quite, as Holder gets back in front.
This is the hardest part right now. That outside line is working for Holder. The Australian can't give it up. If he goes to the inside, he'll lose all of his momentum. It took him the whole lap to understand that. I think now he realizes he's got to stay out in that cushion, see if he can get any extra drive. He's going to keep that lead.
Holder doing the job so far as the battle continues for second place. Krujmar now trying the outside, and can he cut back off the fourth bend to make a move on Andreas Malaga as they start the last lap? It's very tight indeed. As he goes down the inside and he moves his man aside, Krujmar moves through into second. Malaga tries to hit back off the second bend, and now can Lambert take advantage as they go into the final bend? I don't think he can. It's going to be a win for Jack Holder. Still really tight for second and third, with Hansen on the inside and Lambert coming through as well, and it will be just Krujmar in third over Lambert, and a win for Jack Holder. Gets his night properly off and running. He moves on to 4 points with that. He was out in front, had to defend for a couple of laps, then the battle for second really took over between Krujmar and Lajaga, and Robert Lambert unable to make his way through, and for Bartosz Schmechthaler, Reed Robert Lambert as well, 1 point from 2 rides. Holder wins it, Lajaga in second place, Krujmar in third.
Yeah, quite impressed with Holder in this one. Lajaga really put the pressure on him at the first part of the race, but the Australian held on to his composure and made sure he was learning, I would say, every corner of the first almost lap and a half. I'd give him that. He didn't really know where he was going to be. Lambert just jumped a little bit, and he just spoiled his opportunity from that outside gate. You can see right there, he just flinched right there, and now he's not even in the picture getting in that first corner. But Jack Holder in blue makes a start. Lajaga was right up on that inside looking for a little bit extra drive. Krujmar was trying to get around the outside, and to me that looked like the perfect opportunity for him to get up there, Krujmar himself. But as the race got going, here's another view of the start there. Yes, Jack Holder makes it, but the first lap and a half, Holder didn't know if he should stay the inside or the outside. He was being pushed enough, thinking, should I go down low? Well, he stayed in the middle of the track, which was a perfect opportunity for him to finish off the race.
So Jack Holder moves on to 4 points, so the same total as Dimitri Berger and Andreas Lajaga, but Holder with the race victory is better off than them at this stage. Heat 7 next up. Brady Kurtz goes off the inside gate, yet to score from his opening ride. Patrick Mikel, the wild card, goes off gate 2 in blue. Patrick Hansen, who impressed in his first ride, he's in white, and Yevgenis Kostygov, who, like Hansen, finished second first time out, he goes in yellow.
Yeah, interesting lineup here. I'd say Kurtz was
off the inside.
Yeah, Kurtz on the inside, but remember he was the one that jumped in his first attempt in his first race, and was penalized from that one. So you just can't make any mistakes. You're going to score points. You got to get out of the start and make it clean. There's a little bit of groove there. Watching Kurtz getting into it from where I'm standing.
Yeah, Brady Kurtz inside, Patrick Mikel gate 2, Patrick Hansen gate 3, Yevgenis Kostygov off the outside, and away they go. And Patrick Hansen again make quite a good one in white. Kurtz gets to the first bend with the advantage. Hansen in second under threat from Kostygov, who tried the sweep round the outside, now trying to switch back into the third bend in third place. It's Kurtz with the advantage, and tight for second and third, but still being maintained by Patrick Hansen for now over Yevgenis Kostygov. And now Hansen switching for the inside as Kurtz sailed out wide on turns 1 and 2, picks up good drive there off the second bend, and Brady Kurtz still race leads. Yeah,
Brady Kurtz has learned the track quite well from that inside straight out to the outside line, and feeling like he might have the confidence to stay there, just can't get tempted off that outside line. He does, goes right back to the inside now. Just thought that he was getting outrun up the inside by the day, and Hansen was up the inside, picking up some better speed than he was. So just to secure that, Kurtz though, he's holding down that low line now.
Kurtz lifting off the fourth bend, might be a chance here for Hansen down the inside into the final lap. They're going to get tight, and Hansen tries to move him aside, and Kurtz again lifting on turn 2, and Patrick Hansen has passed him, and now can Kurtz go back round him on the final 2 turns. Hansen in white on the inside, Kurtz in red on the outside. Patrick Hansen with a good line there off the bend, and Patrick Hansen wins heat 7 as Brady Kurtz slips off. Kurtz in second place, Yevgenis Kostygov in third, Patrick Mikel at the back. Well, Patrick Hansen has shown far more, as with Lucas Fernhagen, he's shown far more in his first 2 rides here tonight than he had done in the series so far, and he then really picked the pocket of Brady Kurtz, who just lifted coming off turn 4 on lap 3. It gave him the run down the inside, and he rode a perfect final lap there to get the victory. Hansen over Kurtz with Kostygov in third place.
Well, all these guys in this Heat 7 came into this for their second time on the racetrack tonight during the racing after they've groomed the track once. The conditions are a little bit dodgy, but you kind of see the trend. Mid-track to the outside is where you want to be. In the red helmet color, the Australian, Brady Kurtz, makes a good start, hugs the inside, puts his front wheel right over the curb where you need to be, keeps it tight, gets a nice drive coming off of this turn two. He pulls away from everybody. Pretty much the rest of the guys are left standing. But Patrick Hansen, the Dane, decided he's going to stay right up that inside. He covered the ground right there because he had a little bit of a challenge there from the outside position rider turning back through the first corner. And then as Hansen was pressuring the inside line, just aggressively trying to get traction, there's not a heck of a lot of traction out there for all these guys, but on the outside line, the Australian had a little bit of false security, and that little bit of lift right there gave an opportunity for the Dane to come up the inside, and his back tires nice and warm on that inside groove, and it just pulled him. Here's another view right there of the big mistake the Australian made.
Well, a blow again there for Brady Kurtz, who takes 2 points there where he would have expected 3. A big Heat 8 now coming up with 3 of the riders who won their opening rides tonight, and it's Max Frick against Maxim Drabik in the series. Drabik on 34 points and Frick on 31, so Frick it really needs to beat Drabik here to take more points off him. Casper Verina is in white, who of course also won his first ride. Dominic Kibera off the outside. Frick inside in red. Drabik in blue off gate 2. Verina in white off gate 3. And Kibera goes in yellow off the outside. Slightly late, we have a cameraman on the track. Seen that a few weeks ago in Germany. Anyway, they're good to go now for heat number 8, and a very important one in the context of the series. And Drabik has outgated Frick. That's really important. Drabik in blue has got the lead, and Verina is trying to go into second place in white. In fact, Verina might try and go around everyone here into the third bend. And Casper Verina up against Maxim Drabik here on bench 3 and 4. Kubra with a great run as well, and Verina has gone round the field, and he has the advantage here over Maxim Drabik. But with Frick at the back, and now up the inside, Dominic Kubera. There's no love lost, no favours being done here amongst the poles, because Kubera trying to mix things up. Verina out in front, but if it stays this way, it's a massive result for Drabik against Frick.
Oh, wow. How's the tides changed here? Who knows? Verina came from gate 3 in a critical race, I would say, coming from that position, going into the first corner, put him in a nice opportunity down the back straightaway. Bike hooked up, got himself out in front. By the time he got into the first lap, he was leading. Nice move from him.
Well, Frick trying to limit damage by moving back through into third place against Dominic Kubera. He's done so, but I don't think he's got any chance really of reeling in Maxim Drabik from there. Casper Verina looking well impressive out in front. That was a tremendous first lap from him, and he leads Drabik, but Drabik will be happy enough with the overall outcome of the race. It's a win for Casper Verina, second place for Maxim Drabik, with Max Frick in third place, Dominic Kubera at the back, and that's another step towards the title as far as Maxim Drabik is concerned. He's getting most things right tonight, whilst his rivals are dropping points left, right and centre, and Max Frick there dropping 2 points there with third place in Heat 8. So Verina joins Fienhager as unbeaten on the night, but Drabik certainly in control as far as the series is concerned.
You know, the start's so important, and when you then got to claim track position, once you get out of that start, you got to say, right, your choices are limited. You either go right to the inside or you go right to the outside. We've seen Kurtz in the race earlier get blown away by coming from the inside gate, moving right out to the top third, left the whole inside open. At this time right here, Drabik thought he was going to be able to hold on to the inside there, but Fiona from that gate number 3, here we can see Frick trying to get in the first corner first from that inside gate. Didn't get it. Drabik, both these guys are going for the big points right now. Very critical races, Heat 8 for both of them. But Verona comes in and just spoils the party. Sticks to that outside line, lets the bike work for him, and there's just enough drive there for him to pull away from the rest of the guys. And then it was just about swapping the minor places here. Frick just trying to hold on to a point. At least he secured one out of it, but the opportunity missed for the current world champion. Under 21 world champion in the red helmet right there is going to have a lot of work to do now.
Yeah, Frick finds himself 4 points behind Drabik. There's his move to get 1 point back against Dominic Kubera. That was pretty forceful as well on the back straight, but he made it through, got his point, and who knows, that could be also important. He's got to make sure he finishes top 8 on the night to continue in the meeting. We saw in Gustro how things can change. There's the result confirmed with Verina, Drabik and Frick, the outcome from Heat 8. So as the track grading with the tractors starts again on the circuit at the end of the second block of races, let's take a look at the score chart so far, as Casper Verina enjoying life here in Pardubice with maximum points so far, and he and somewhat surprisingly, Lucas Fienhager are the unbeaten riders so far with 6 out of 6. Maxim Drabek and Patrick Hansen also going well. They've got 5 on the night, and then there are 4 riders on 4 points. Max Frick, Jack Holder, Dimitri Berger and Andreas Leaga all on 4 points so far tonight. And you have to go down the order outside the top 8 on the night to find Brady Kurtz on 2 points, Bartosz Schmechtala on 1, and Robert Lambert also on 1. They have got a big mountain to climb in their remaining 3 programmed rides here tonight. And in the standings overall, Maxim Drabek on 36 points has effectively regained control of the series after seeing his lead slashed in Gustro, where he's now on 36. Max Frick on 32, Bartosz Schmechtala on 31, Brady Kurtz 26, Robert Lambert 25, Andreas Leaga 23, and Varina on 22 now, moving himself up the standings with his couple of wins so far tonight. But Drabek holds a 4-point lead over Frick, and when we look at what's to come, Drabek in Heat 11 has an inside gate against Berger, Kostegovs and Leaga. That might not be totally straightforward. And Frick in Heat 12 has got to go up against Fienhager, who's unbeaten so far, Holder and Hansen. But we're seeing tonight, Sam, other riders, we thought this might happen, other riders who haven't really featured so far in the series, they are coming in, they're shaking things up, and they're taking important points off the people who really want a straightforward night towards the trophy.
That came up in our conversation, how we were wondering who was going to be the spoilers that come in here and steal some of the critical points off the top guys. Yeah, and they're mixing up good. That's just the nature of this track, I would say. This 391-meter racetrack, there's not any definite inside or outside lines. It's just a matter of getting out of that start and claiming a position on the racetrack, and you got to be able to feel the riders coming, whether they're coming up the inside of you or on the outside of you, and try to hold on and have the best, your best setup on your bike. Hopefully get you out of the start. Right now the riders will be thinking, you know, they can make these bikes longer or shorter on the wheelbase. Making it shorter makes the bike a little bit aggressive out of the start. Might get them to the first corner. They turn the bike in the corner, then it kind of turns a little bit too much for them. It's a little bit too short, but the bike starts to drive forward a little bit. Then you lean back and you get the sensation you're getting some traction, and all of a sudden the bike lifts too much and you lose your forward momentum. So this is all a big learning curve for these guys, and it's hard to master it, but if you can get it right in your race or two tonight, the way it's going, and some of the guys that haven't been scoring big points in the first 2 rounds are getting that setup quite right.
If you were in Maxim Drabek's pit crew, if you were his manager, shall we say, or his chief advisor, what would you be saying to him now? Would you be saying just it's got to be calm, no mistakes, and just keep accumulating points? Because the start of the meeting must have been beyond their wildest dreams, really. The fact that they've scored big points, he scored big points, and so many of his rivals haven't.
I think that you don't overthink it right now. You go out there and do your best job you possibly can to deal with your gate positions. Try to claim good track position once you come out of the start, and limited damage, really. Try to make sure you don't go worse than a second if you happen to be not leading. When you're leading, sometimes can be a little bit more pressure on you because you're not so sure where the other rider is going to be coming from, whether they're inside or out, unless you got a heck of a good corner and pick the right line at the right time during the 4 races after they grade it. So all these things are what the coach or the manager or your mechanics might be advising the rider. Would be saying, look, right, remember that you're in race 3 after they just graded the racetrack, but you're coming from gate 1. You're either going to have to keep it really tight in the first corner and hope that nobody's going to have a lot more speed coming off at turns 2 than you are holding the real inside line. And once you're going down that back straightaway, it's really up to you to feel if you've got enough drive to be able to move off your inside line and go out to the dirt. And is that going to be the recipe? Because the guy that was on outside gates going through the first corner on the outside is going to have a lot more momentum by the time they get into turns 3. So you don't really try to tell the rider what to do, just give them the options, and maybe also find out what other riders have been, their trends been on the night, and pass that on. So if you're in a race where a rider's been sticking straight on the inside or he's been on the outside, if they can identify that so early on in the meeting, we're on in Heat 8, you just tell your rider, watch out for so-and-so, he's been riding the outside, or watch out for so-and-so, he's been riding the inside. That's your best bet.
So some riders would say, I don't care who I'm against, I don't even know who I'm against when I go to the start line, but when it gets to this sort of stage, sometimes you have to know who your opponents are.
Yeah, it's definitely, I used to kind of study riders' kind of techniques and what the trends are. Right now, we got a water truck going out there putting water on the racetrack.
This one's actually doing it from the back,
yeah.
just to prove that how good the equipment is.
Yeah. So these are the factors that you would take on board before you come into your next race. But I know riders and the current world champion, Greg Hancock. You know, that guy doesn't really rely on looking at the program to see what races, and he relies on his starting ability to get himself out in front, deal with the conditions as he sees them. I was a bit different. I wanted to know all of the things that were going on. That's how I dealt with it.
Racing has been good so far, and for a big track, it's not just a horsepower track, is it? You've got to think your way around it. You can't just bolt on a fast engine and go, because we're seeing people get reeled in.
You know, people say you need horsepower when you got a big track. You just need power that works, I think. If you can get the back wheel to grip the ground. There's not a lot of dirt on this racetrack, so I wouldn't think the horsepower is the answer. What you need is a really good setup, something that will actually pull you into the first corner and give you a consistent run around every corner. But when you have to deal with conditions changing, like you might be in your first round of 4 races, you might be in heat 3. Your next round you might be in heat 1. The next round you might be in heat 4. Those are the things that you're thinking about, and what gate positions you are. You're pulling all of those equations together and making your decisions off that.
There's how things stand so far. Confirmation that Verena and Fienhagen are the 2 unbeaten riders. Drabik and Hansen tucked in behind them on 5 apiece. Frick and Holder and Berger and Leaga all on 4. And a reminder, you have to be in the top 8 on the night to go through to the semi-finals and the chance to earn more points towards the series in the semi and the final. If Drabik keeps on doing what he's doing, then he'll get the job done and become champion with that 4-point lead thus far. His aim will be to make sure it's more than 3 points before the final if he makes it that far, to avoid any pressure of needing to go out in the final and score points. But so far, he's handling things quite nicely. Riders coming out on track for Heat 9. Really important race here for Robert Lambert and Brady Kurtz. There is Brady Kurtz on the outside in yellow. Lambert will be going off the inside in red. They're up against Kubera in blue and Brenton in white. And with Lambert only on 1 point so far on the night, Kurtz on 2, they've got to start scoring repeated 3 points if they're going to get themselves really back in contention.
Well, yeah, look at the other 2 riders squeezed between them. You know, their point scoring so far hasn't been so highlighted as well. Each of those riders only got 1 point each, so all 4 of these riders are desperate to make sure they can actually at least double their point scoring so far, and it's their 3rd race. So there's a lot going on in this, and all 4 of these riders' minds right now. They have to deal with the fact that they have a freshly groomed racetrack. The conditions aren't all that great when it comes to relying on full traction. It's a matter of technique and finesse, really. Get out of that start, let the bike pull you around the first corner. Hopefully you got good track position when you're coming off of turns 2. By the time you get up to full speed going into turns 3, you gotta know where you want to be on the track and deal with the conditions that you're going to find slippery a little bit because they've just watered it as well.
Brady Kurtz, of course, should have won his last ride. He made a mistake going into the last lap and ended up finishing 2nd. The watering after Heat 8 was less of a watering, shall we say, than after Heat 4, just more of a light sprinkle. So Lambert inside, Kuber up gate 2, Brenton gate 3, and Kurtz off the outside for Heat number 9. Go away, and Lambert off the inside makes a better start that time, but Kurtz comes across on the outside, and they're very tight into the first bend, and Brady Kurtz with speed in yellow. He is trying to go around Robert Lambert, who maintains the lead, with Kubera trying to come in, and Kurtz going wide on Lambert, and Lambert manages to ride him wide, and that will send Kurtz out of play, and through on the inside goes Kubera, passing Lambert. Kubera from 3rd to 1st, Kurtz trying to hit back, Lambert now out of contention, he'll try and switch back once more, and somehow Brady Kurtz back in front, and somehow Lambert 2nd, and now Lambert and Kurtz running once again.
I rest my case here. This is what I'm saying. All of the elements of the racetrack are changing each corner they go through. And it will start settling down now because they'll start getting a definite line on the inside that will be a little bit drier than the guy on the outside. So you might just have an advance right here. That is Kurtz, the Australian. coming from the gate 4, is clamping on the inside, but he's got the Britain rider right up the inside of him right there. Lambert trying to squeeze underneath him if he can.
Well, Kurtz and Lambert trading paintwork blow for blow just as they were in Gusto 3 weeks ago, and Lambert still giving it all, trying to get at Brady Kurtz. Will he go inside or outside on the final bend? Kurtz with the advantage into that final turn. Looks like he'll hold it for now, and he will win it. And would you know it, Brenton will snatch second over Lambert with Kubra at the back. Well, I think every rider had a go at leading that race at one point, because Kubra was really involved on the first lap. He finished at the back, and Brenton from nowhere has snatched second off Lambert. So it's impossible to know where to defend. Brady Kurtz comes through with the victory after a fierce battle with Lambert, and Lambert will be furious that he's lost second place there. Kurtz, Brenton, Lambert, the result of a dramatic 8-9.
Oh, wow. That just proves my point. You know, you got to deal with the conditions, and the conditions are changing. In that race, they were changing every corner. Out of the box, you see Kurtz here from the outside, gets a nice drive into the corner. He gets himself positioned quite well. Lambert on the inside in the red is equally in good position because he's going the shortest way around this 391-meter racetrack, right up on the inside, but then decided he's going to have to move up a little bit so he can slow down the drive of Kurtz, because he felt him up there. Left a big hole there for Cabrera to come underneath him, coming from gate 2, his drive there. But then you got Buten coming from, where's he coming from at the end? He's in the white helmet color, dead last right now, coming off a 2, but he's got some speed, cuts back on the inside while all three of these guys sort themselves coming around. To finish the first lap, they were all changing positions.
Lambert at one point was on one wheel coming off the fourth bend, but managed to maintain that. He was scrapping with Kurtz. Kubra was in front there briefly before Brady Kurtz came back at him. Lambert followed him through, and Brenton was at the back, but managed to pick his way past Kubra, and then took advantage of Lambert on the final bend for second place.
Did I mention poetry in motion at one time? You know what I mean? These riders are all out there trying to get the most out of their bike, and it's not down to them. It's a matter of just keeping the finesse of the whole thing going forward, and it's very difficult at times because you get yourself in a bit of a muddle right there. We've just seen right there Buten did. It's difficult at the best of times.
Quite a race there, Heat 9. Let's see what Heat 10 brings. It's an important one again for Smektala, who rides in blue. The unbeaten Verena rides in red. Patrick Mikel in white, and Edouard Crutchmark goes in yellow. And Bartosz Smektala urgently needs a victory here. And if the results of the meeting so far are anything to go by, Verena has already taken points off Maxim Drabik, and he won't be showing any favours either to Bartosz Smektala. Individual event, all about the points of the individual, and Kasper Verena on the inside. Smektala gate 2, Mikel gate 3, and Crutchmark outside. Heat 10 gets underway, and Smektala this time in blue has made the start. He's got there in front of Kasper Verena. The speed from Crutchmark in yellow around the outside. He'll try and get round Verena as well. Verena trying to ride him out a bit there, very close into the third bend, and Crutchmark has gone round Verena into second place. Smektala out in front. He swings it wide off the fourth bend, while Crutchmark has got plenty of track knowledge around here. He'll be trying to search for some lines, trying to get back at Smektala. It's Verena in third place, but this might just be something for Bartosz Smektala to get himself kick-started.
Yeah, Smektala did a really good first lap there. Held the inside through the first corner. By the time he got into through, let the bike drift up the outside. He's under a bit of pressure right now from Crutchmark. Crutchmark now has to deal with the fact that he's got Verena up the inside of him as well, so nobody's safe.
Yeah, Crutchmark is close enough here as Smektala goes a little whisker too wide off that fourth bend, then Crutchmark could still make his way through. Every lap he gets a bit closer, and Smektala has to really block him into the first bend there. Verena is seeing the possibility, the two in front chipping over each other. We've still got a big three-way scrap on here. Smektala with the advantage over in second place. Crutchmark with Verena trying to go wide off the final turn, but Bartosz Smektala does get a race victory on the board in Heat 10 and puts his title bid some way at least back on track. He's got still much more to make up, but he's got himself back in the meeting. First bid to try and make the semis. He's got a win on the board there in Heat 10. Smektala holding off the challenge of Edouard Crutchmark, who spent 4 laps trying to make his way through on the inside. Couldn't do so. Kasper Verena there in third place, dropping his first points of the meeting. But a really important ride there and a win for Bartosz Smektala.
Yeah, Verena was the biggest loser in that one, wasn't he? Coming from that inside start position. Thought he might have a chance to get there, but Smektala having only 1 point going into heat number 10, he meant the business. He needed to make that gate 2 work, and it did. In the blue helmet color, Bartosz Smektala makes the start. gets himself in there. Look how he put his front wheel over the curb there, the white line, keeps it down low, lets the rest of the boys deal with the fact that he's made the start. Then he gets into turns 3, and he lets the bike drift up, leaves everybody the opportunity of false security, I would say, to be able to cut the bike up the inside, to be able to get back underneath him. And Kirschmar was the one that got himself into that position coming off the first lap up the inside. There's another view of the start there. McCallum makes a really good one and makes sure he seals the deal, controls the race, but he was under immense pressure towards the last probably lap 3 and 4. He had a lot of people breathing up the inside of him and then on the outside of him. He really didn't know where to go. He decided to stay down the low line the whole way the last corner, and it paid big dividends from there. Finally scored some points. Now he's on a total of 4. He only had 1 going in that race, so really thinking a lot in that one, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah, Bartosz Smektala, 4 points from 3 rides. Now Heat 11, we'll see what one of his rivals for the championship, Maxim Drabik, can do off the inside gate in red. In what's a pretty tough race here, there is Maxim Drabik with the leader's race jacket, the gold race jacket. Dimitri Berger goes in blue. He's got 4 points so far. Yevgenis Kostygov's in white with 3. And Andreas Lajaga in yellow. He's got 4. So Drabik here with the inside gate. And that gate's only provided 1 race winner so far. So let's see if Maxim Drabik can... and that race win, by the way, wasn't from the gate. So it's been pretty tough for the rider from the inside to win races. And Maxim Drabik, the series leader, in control as things stand. What will heat number 11 bring for the rider in red? He's trying to win a try. He's made a good start there off the inside. Really did anticipate perfectly and made the start. Maxim Drabik leads, but turning back is Dimitri Berger off the second bend. Berger hits the front, and now Kostyov will try and go through as well. Drabik is out wide into bend 3. Now, will he try and go around the outside of Berger? Yes, he will. Can he do so, though? It's Berger just over Drabik as they cross the start-finish line almost together. Great ride by Maxim Drabik to go round Dimitri Berger. He race leads. It's Kostyov in 3rd place. Lajaga at the back.
Equally good ride from Berger to get himself in that position in the first lap there, to put pressure under Drabik, to make sure he had to work hard. A little bit of lift right there for Kostyov, but he holds on to that one. But still, they're swapping blows. The 2 guys out in front for the first lap or so, and Drabik seals the deal so far and stretching his lead now. Yep,
Drabik doing all he needs to do so far tonight, and he showed there the racing instinct as well to certainly not put himself in too much danger, but still get himself round the outside of Dimitri Berger and take the lead, and to move himself, if he gets through safely here, onto 8 points from 3 rides and stepping his way nearer and nearer the title. Around turns 3 and 4, it's going to be Maxim Drabik with the victory. 2nd place, Dimitri Berger. 3rd for Kostygovs, and Lajaga out the back, and Drabik can take another sigh of relief, another step nearer for him as he makes it 8 from 3 here in Pardubice this evening. And that was a good ride up against a very threatening Dimitri Berger on the opening lap. Drabik had all the answers. Drabik wins heat 11 from Berger with Kostyovs in 3rd place.
Berger did the ultimate clever move in the first corner. Drabik made the start from the inside, gets himself in there, but Berger does a really nice job of turning the bike back. Knows he didn't make a good enough start to get over the top of the pole, but as he turned the bike back, he got his wheels in line coming off there, and he thought all of this Christmas come at one time, and this one, thought he's going to have this one sewn up. He's been having some really good lines on the outside, but he chose to be on the inside here. Drabik then stuck to his line, and luckily he did. He just had enough of grip to be able to pull himself around the Frenchman and pull it off. So the pole back on the scoring board with another 3 points, giving this total of 5 points. He's got half a chance now. That's still good. He's leading as we speak at the minute, I think, overall, isn't he?
Yeah, Drabik on 8 overall. He now leads the meeting. Roina on 7. Fienhager, who is unbeaten on 6. He is due out here in heat 12. And he will be going up against Max Frick, Jack Holder and Patrick Hansen. Good racing prospect. Yeah. And it's crucial for Frick, who rides in blue, who starts this race 7 adrift of Drabik and has simply got to start clawing it back. Yeah,
the 3 points are desperate for the current world champion. He's the one trying to hold on and defend it here. And what did he score last time he was here?
18, I think it was.
Yeah, last year he scored 18 points, so he's well scoring under what he's normally used to doing around here.
And Max Frick racing here tonight, missing his UK team, Bellevue, in the Premiership playoffs against Wolverhampton. They're about to get underway in about 15 minutes' time in Manchester, with that meeting being rearranged on numerous occasions due to the weather. But Frick obviously defending his under-21 title here. This is going to be a tough race with the way Fienhager has ridden so far. Hold up off gate 3, and Hansen, who's been excellent.
Definitely. Yeah, Hansen's he's been scoring some good points, and he's been making some good starts, and he's on that outside gate. The gates have been fluctuating a little bit. Gate 4 dominated the first 4, but not anymore.
So Max Frick in blue under some pressure. That's a definite jump there by Jack Holder. The Reds are straight on. The Reds are straight on from Christina Turnbull, who for the first time tonight has to stop a race. There have been a couple of races before where there has been movement, but the rider has actually stopped when the tapes went up and penalised themselves. But that time I think Jack Holder a little bit too enthusiastic, shall we say, to get going there in heat 12 in the white helmet colour. Didn't touch the tapes, but I'm sure we'll get some kind of a warning, and we'll just await the replay, and you'll see the rider in white making that movement.
It's Mr. Holder trying to get good gates, difficult as it is, just to make the start even. There we go. But that's definitely, you know what? He actually at the tape, he actually looked like he just made a good start.
Did he make such a better one than everybody else?
Oh, he just let that clutch out exactly when the tapes went up. I don't know if there's any anticipation there or not, but he was ready for that. Let's watch again.
Well, I think, was the rear wheel spinning? Just
maybe, huh?
I think just, but actually, here we go.
No,
it wasn't.
No. Looks too darn good, though.
We can criticise referees for all we like, but the minute that happened,
that was just a perfect start.
Yeah.
God.
But as I say, I don't blame the referee at all, because we're sitting directly below the referee, so we've got virtually the same view. And as soon as that happened, I said straight away, that's a jump by Jack Holder, and the Reds came straight on.
Well, he definitely catapulted out of the start compared to the other 3 riders.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was unfair, maybe it wasn't, but that's kind of start you want to make every time, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, yes.
No, I'd imagine there was a little bit of anticipation there, because you're not that quick, and you just have to have the instinct that's going to go.
And that's what the referee will be saying. Yeah,
exactly.
it was too good. It was so perfectly timed. You can't beat the referee's reaction. That's what the view will be. So he's got a warning for it, which he'll be a bit frustrated about, I'm sure. But back in for the rerun in white, Jack Holder. Lucas Fienhager going in red off the inside, unbeaten so far. I didn't think I'd be saying that, with all due respect to Lucas so far tonight, but fair play to him, because he's ridden superbly. Max Frick off gate 2, Jack Holder gate 3, and Patrick Hansen off the outside.
Well, he's got an opportunity to keep it 3 in a row from the inside gate. Yeah. I would say, if he's feeling confident right now. Max Frick's having a bit of a downer, I would say, a little bit. Jack Holder's not as consistent as he wants to be. Hansen's trying to pick up the pieces, but Fienhager could actually dominate from the inside gate. He's just got to put the wheels perfect position in the first corner.
The restart then of heat number 12. This time that away, there was certainly also that time of Frick. Blue has made a better start that time. He's got to the bend in front of Fienhager, with Jack Holder in white trying to go around the outside. They really bottle up there for second, third, and fourth. My word, are they all going to get around there? 3 into 1. It just about goes. It's Frick with the advantage through the head of the battle for second. Hansen has got the second over Holder, with Fienhager at the back. Well, exactly what Max Frick would have wanted there. Made a good start in blue, got above his man into the first bend. They're all scrapping away for second place. Holder going back round Hansen, and Frick out in front.
Yeah, nice ride from Frick. Good start as well. That's really put him in this position he's in now, letting the bike do the work now. The guys are letting the bikes run now up to the high lines. They're getting a bit of extra grip out there, leaving the big open on the inside, but there's not a heck of a lot of speed you can generate when you're turning the bike hard on that inside line. So the place to be is exactly where Max Frick is.
Yeah, we did see quite a few inside passes earlier in the meeting, but it may well be that with the speed and the way the driver's moving out, then that is the place to be. And Max Frick race leads up the back straight for the final time, ahead of Jack Holder, who got the better of Patrick Hansen. Lucas Fienhager's fine winning run is coming to an end in heat 12, but it's a win for Max Frick, who keeps himself in play. Frick with the win over Jack Holder. Third place, Patrick Hansen, and Lucas Fienhager out the back. And Frick moves on to 7 points this evening. That's 1 behind Maxim Drabik on the evening, and he's still there or thereabouts. He's 4 behind Drabik in the overall standing. He'll need a favour elsewhere if he's going to retain his trophy, but if he keeps on winning, you never know what might happen.
Yeah,
Frick winning 12 and have Holder and Hansen.
Yeah, you just got to keep plugging away for sure. Fienhager on that inside, I was bigging him up a little bit to see if he can actually do the damage, keep the consistency going, but he just spun and the bike lifted and squirreled out of the start. Max Frick, the Australian, defending his championship championship title right now by making another 3 points to his scoreboard. Took this first lap and really meant the business. Let the bike really run, and he's got the speed. The rest of the boys piled up going into turn 3, and Jack Holder, the Australian, gets around the other two guys that were trailing third and fourth, held on to that right to the finish line. But Max Frick didn't put a wheel wrong, had to battle getting in that first corner, but after this battle, it was all his own way.
So it's victory for Frick. It keeps him, as I say, in the series overall with 35 points. But on the night, and look how tight that was to the third bend.
Yeah, absolutely close right there. Hansen did a good job holding on to it. By the time he got 3, they started going to that inside line. He just left the outside open for Jack Holder. Jack Holder's back wheel got into that little bit of dirt, got a little bit more speed, followed his fellow Australian around into that second position. 2 points for Jack Holder, and Hansen had to give it up there and only got 1 point out of that tussle.
So 3 rides completed for each of the competitors, and Maxim Drabik is out in front. There's Max Frick on 7, Drabik on 8 on the night, and Verena also has 7. Then on 6, Fienhager, Holder and Hansen and Berger, so 4 riders on 6 points, and Brady Kurtz now moves into the top 8 on the night with 5, and Bartosz Smektala, who also won his last ride, he's on 4 just outside the top 8. There's the pits complex here at Pardubice. So a really nice pits complex, Sam, because they can actually effectively look over the balcony. It's much higher up than at certain places.
Yeah, it's a first story pit arrangement. It's got a concrete floor on it, and underneath it, and they got garages for the local riders and mechanics to learn their craft and prepare their bikes. But on top, as you said, you got to go right down to there's a ramp coming from this top of this building here where the riders ramp down. You can just see it in the far up the top of the picture right there. They ramp where the tractors are. They get pushed off up there, and they come back and approach the racetrack through those gates there. It's a nice setup. It's been here forever. I think it's 70 or something years or something like that.
Oh, the golden helmet's been going since goodness knows when, hasn't it?
Wow.
It's that was 19.
Yeah, 69 of them they've done so far. Next year's their 70th year.
I'm sure that'll be a special one. And they do attract big name riders to it, and for an invitational event, and the riders clearly are keen to do it as well, which I think is important.
And they run 6 riders in a race. That's how wide this track is. So there's some nice photographs. I got a big poster of me out in front or somewhere along. Pinned up at home where I'm on this racetrack, and back in 1986 I think it was. Just a fabulous place to come to, and the fans are, the under 21s, there's not a huge crowd here today, but there's 2 more meetings to come, and it's tremendous whenever they have the golden helmet.
It was here last year where, if you recall, Nicky Pedersen won the Speedway Euro Championship in Ribnik with that amazing performance of winning I think 5 out of 6 rides, scoring 17 points, and then trying to do a weekend double. Ended up having a big crash up on that third bend when I think he was battling with Enu at the time.
He was,
really knocked his head, and that really started off a really unfortunate series of injuries for Nicky.
And still talking to Hans Nielsen, the Danish team manager, on the plane when we were ready to board, I was asking him about Nicky, and he was saying that Nicky's trying to get fit. I think he said he had a ride last week possibly, and he's still not 100% yet. Still got some work to do, but looking forward to possibly getting back on the bike and getting back out there for next year.
We certainly hope that's the case, and wish him well for doing so. Let's just take you through the overall standing so far with the 3 rides completed on the night. So the riders could have a maximum of 4 more rides to come, so a maximum of 12 points available for the riders. So what that has done effectively, well, more than effectively, it's reduced the number of potential champions here down to 4 riders, because Robert Lambert on 26 is 13 behind Maxim Drabik. So even if he had a fantastic run, then he would not be able to catch Drabik in the series. So Drabik's on 39 points, Frick's on 35, Smektala's on 34, and Kurtz on 29. Very much the outsider at this stage. But Frick and Smektala, just the fact that they've won a couple of races, it just keeps them ticking over if something goes wrong for Drabik. Well,
absolutely. You never give up until it's over, and you're always thinking positive. If you weren't thinking positive, you wouldn't be in this event. Period. It's over 3 rounds, so every opportunity can still happen. A rider can get knocked off and get hurt. You don't know what's going to happen. So you don't want that to happen, but you just got to be ready for all the different opportunities.
Just looking at what they've got to come in their next rides. Drabik going out in heat 14, and he's got to face Krutschmar, Fienhager and Kurtz in that one. So we'll see. We certainly had all the answers in the previous ride. So that was impressive. And Max Frick goes in, Smektala in heat 15 off the outside, Jack Holder in that race. And heat 16, Max Frick involved with Dimitri Berger and Robert Lambert. Only scored 2 points so far tonight. I mentioned Lambert's on 26, so isn't going to overhaul the 39 that Drabic currently has.
No, I think Max Frick's actually got the bike working really well now. He's probably using with a bit of confidence after that last.
Yeah, he did look in that last race.
Yeah, he did. He was going. He made the start nice and clean, got himself in front, picked the line, and let the bike and himself pull away from the rest of the riders. Looked pretty confident. Looked like a world champion, actually.
Well, so, which he was, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually getting some Grand Prix experience now. He rode in as a replacement rider. He rode in Teterow the day after Gustro. Didn't have a good night there. I think all sorts conspired. The weather was awful that weekend. He'd had another crash in his last ride of the under-21s. But then he rode in Stockholm last weekend and won a race. So, again, just showing that, and we saw him in the pairs earlier in the season too. So, Max Frick's a rider that you're going to see plenty of in the next few years. He belongs at that level.
Yeah, I would say Brady Kurtz in heat 14. He's going to have to be able to help out Frick, I would say, by making sure he can take care of Drabic. Maxim Drabic is coming from gate 3 with Brady Kurtz coming from gate 4. Kurtz has only scored 5 points, but he's also...
And after a last place in his first ride, he should have won his second ride.
Yeah.
So he is getting himself to the front.
And he penalized himself in his first ride by trying to anticipate the start, and he got held back for that. So, you know, anything's possible, but I imagine the boys, when they huddle up in the pits, they're throwing these ideas around.
And certainly when they huddle up in the pits in the Maxim Drabic camp, they'll be feeling it looks quite good. He came into this meeting 1 point in front. He's now 4 points in front. 39 over 35 to Frick, and then 34 to Smektala, and then Brady Kurtz, the other rider, with a mathematical chance now of winning the series on 29.
Yeah, I would say Drabic is feeling really happy with that score. Still got lots of work to do. The changing conditions of the racetrack, meaning, you know, they have to prepare it every time. After 4 races, they go around and grade it, put some water down, as we're seeing here, and that just puzzles the riders. Some riders can actually deal with it quite good. The setups of the bike sometimes play on their minds, whether they want to make a change if they think they're coming from the outside gate versus the inside gate. They just water the track. It's not been water because you're in the second or third race of after the grading. The bike will handle a little bit different, react a little bit different, but the most important thing is to get the bike set up to get out of the start, give them half an opportunity to be able to claim a position through first corner, and be able to seal the deal by the time they got up to full speed after 1 lap. That's down to the mechanics to kind of oversee things, watch what's going on the track, know their riders, obviously. And some riders will come here with the setup thinking their bike's good, and they don't really think that they need to make any changes. It's down to themselves because they feel they made a mistake, a little bit tense out of the start, maybe overturned the bike a little bit. It's really not to blame the machinery, but you do need a little bit of help. If you got the bike set up right, it will help you be able to fulfill your commitment to putting the bike on the track at the right place to get the advantage, that's for sure.
Well, Heat 13 is next up after the most recent track grade. This features 2 of the riders who have been very much in play, with Patrick Hansen and Casper Verena going in red and blue. 6 and 7 points respectively. Laoga Hansen, I should say, in white, and Vuentin goes in yellow.
Yeah, I would think that Patrick Hansen coming from the inside will, you know, his gating ability might play dividends in this one. Track's a little bit slippery. Might get yourself into the first corner. But that would probably be the game plan. I'm sure that's what Hans Nielsen will be telling him. With Laoga coming from gate 3, look, he's close to the starting marshal, which is up next to gate 2. It's a long way between gate 2, 3, and 4.
He's moving now, I think.
Yeah, he's moving over. But then, you know, when you dump that clutch, you come across all of there. There's Hans Nielsen right there. You know, would have advised these guys on what their best chances are. But the riders are in charge when they're on their bike. They're dealing with all these elements as they're approaching the start line, trying to work it out. They might change their minds once they get there. but they're the ones that are looking in front of themselves, seeing what's in front of there as far as water on the track is about.
Hansen inside, Verina gate 2, Leaga gate 3, Brenton off the outside. It's a flying start there by Casper Verina with the red lights on again from Christina Turnbull, who had a very quiet first 10 or 11 races, and now has stopped a couple with, again, the accusation, I'm sure, of movement at the start. And we'll see the replay on Casper Verina there, the rider in blue, who was away first, but we'll see if there was clear movement there. Here we go. Rider in blue, and yes,
yep,
does just go early.
And that little bit of movement, look what it did. It just
gives him a bike left over the man on the inside.
It does. It just gives him that little bit of forward motion, so the bike isn't coming from a dead stop. Once you react with the clutch and the bike jerks, the back wheel starts spinning. So that little bit of inertia moving forward slows the back wheel down from spinning and gives them that. Well, we just seen a healthy bike length going out of the start.
We saw in the Stockholm Grand Prix last week an absolute stream of restarts. The referee was holding the tapes longer probably than normal, and in fact had briefed the riders to that effect beforehand, but several weren't keeping still. Ty Wolfenden actually touched the tapes in his first 2 rides. The referee got quite a bit of stick, I think, at times from various people, but again, if they'd been told beforehand and they were consistent, the referees had to try and ensure fair starts for all.
Well, if the referee's not consistent to the trend, then it's not fair. You know, we are used to what we're seeing here tonight. There's about a 2-second stall before we see the green light come on. It's about 2 seconds, and then the tapes are going to go. But as soon as you start holding them for 3 or 4, and such a competitive field of riders, you don't know what's going to happen, and that's not normal. So even though you might be consistently holding for 3, it's not normal.
Well, tonight we have a second rider warned, Casper Verina in blue. He won his first 2 rides here. We're looking to hit double figures here. If he wins this one, he'll be on to 10 on the night and making his way towards the semis once again. Normally, in these sorts of events, 9 points is normally fairly safe for a semi, although not always. Wolfenden, in fact, himself missed out at Cardiff this year with 9 on countback. So double figures is definitely a mark for the semis. Sometimes you can make a semi as little as 7 or even extraordinarily on 6. So keep clocking up the points, and that's what Casper Verina will be trying to do here in blue. Patrick Hansen in red off the inside, he's got 6. Leaga in white on 4, and Brenton on 3. He goes off the outside. Restart of heat number 13. This time they're still, this time they're away, and Patrick Hansen has got the start over Casper Verina from the inside. Red leads blue. Verina tries to turn back off the second bend, and he's made a neat move there, and he's taken Hansen wide on the back straight. He's got the lead. Brenton is streaming around the outside in yellow, but I don't think he'll quite make it as Andreas Leaga moves back through into 3rd place. So Casper Verina out in front here of Patrick Hansen after a good tussle on the opening lap, and Andreas Leaga 3rd, but Verina could here be set for his 3rd win of the meeting. Yeah,
not a bad run then, getting himself in position, coming off of that back straightaway, I'd say, of the first lap. That's when things got to settle down. Hansen's not going to give up, though. He's just reaching up a little bit, and just the Leaga's up on the inside, too, so the 2 Danes are sitting there ready to pounce on the pole if he makes any mistakes. Track's a little bit slippery from the grading and the water they put down, but it looks like it's settling down just enough for these guys to have a consistent run through the corners now.
Yeah, not riding as wide generally as they were in the races before the track grade, although Patrick Hansen trying to find some more speed as he tries to get the better of Casper Verina. That did put him under pressure from Leaga for a time. It looks like Verina, with a neat inside line there off bend 3 and 4, will hold the advantage, and he makes that 3 wins out of 4. Casper Verina winning heat 13 ahead of Patrick Hansen, who's enjoying a very solid, consistent night scoring. He was in 2nd place, Andreas Leaga in 3rd over Alexander Brenton, and I think you can ink in Casper Verina's name for a semi-final place tonight. 10 points from 4 rides, including 3 race wins. At the pole, there's several of them, and there's several good young poles, and he's one of them, and he has taken heat 13 over Hansen and Leaga.
Yeah, I didn't have it all his own way, and the first attempt of this heat number 13 out of the start, he just got that little bit of a roller, which put him out in front. Referee stopped it straight away, put it back in here, but this time Patrick Hansen on the inside gets himself into the first corner first, coming from the inside gate, holds it down low, just drifts off a little bit, leaves the opportunity there for Casper Verina to be able to get his wheels in line and push the Dane out just a little bit, unsettle him by the time he was going into that, approaching that turn 3, and Fiona really knew what he wanted to do there. Add another 3 points on his scoreboard, and those 3 heat wins will definitely play dividends if they come down in any backtracking of any sorts on gate positionings towards the end.
Very much so. He'll be in the semis with that 10 points. He'll try and add more to that in his final ride, heat 19, and looking to win the meeting as well. Of course, we're working on a title overall, but also a prestigious individual meeting in its own right here tonight. Heat 14, and the series leader Maxim Drabik in action in white. Gate 3 for Drabik. He's got Brady Kurtz off the outside. He's got Krutschmar and Fienhager off his inside. Krutschmar in red, Fienhager in blue, Drabik in white, Kurtz in yellow.
Yeah, we're you know, bigging up Drabik a bit here. If Fienhager can actually pull off a win off that inside move on gate 2, if he was able to do it. Krutschmar again on the inside, looking for a starting position. He's right up against the curb, but when you got Drabik's going to be under some pressure because on the outside of him, he's got the Australian Kurtz. But again, Krutschmar sitting in a really good position on that inside gate. If he's feeling confident, dump that clutch. Everybody settle down and don't try and anticipate. Now the referee won't stop it, and it'll be a clean start.
Rider in white, Maxim Drabik, holding a 4-point lead after 3 races tonight in the standings over Max Frick and 5 over Bartosz Schmechtala. The rider in white in the box seat. What can he make of heat number 14? Star Marshal walks away. They go away, and Drabik in white has made quite a good one. Looks like Krutschmar's got there in front. Brady Kurtz tries to turn back, and Drabik could be squeezed out there. He'll need to make a move around the outside. It's Krutschmar with the lead, and Drabik's got second here, with Brady Kurtz being squeezed out by Lucas Fienhager in the race for third. And Kurtz at the back here as he tries to move back down the inside. Kurtz moves through into second, so Krutschmar leads. Kurtz in second, trying to go back in on Drabik. I think this would do Drabik reasonably, with Edward Krutschmar in front and Brady Kurtz struggling here against Fienhager.
Yeah, but Drabik's just got to keep his head now. Don't go too wide, or he's going to lose that second position. Those 2 points are better than none right there. Fienhager's right there, but as you say, Kurtz is dead last. He's not even in the hunt there. There's a bit of a push here now. Kurtz's going to have to hold on to that. Which way he's going to go? Down low. He's going to stay low.
Well, Drabik is certainly trying. He might be better advised to sit there with the second place in the back. He's going to go and try and win it. It's Krutschmar with the advantage. It's Drabik in second. Battles on for third because Kurtz's title hopes are going up in smoke here in heat 14. But Drabik is trying to make one last move around the outside, around turn 3 and 4. It's Edward Krutschmar who holds the advantage, and Krutschmar will beat Drabik, and the third place will just go to Kurtz over Fienhager. Kurtz takes 1 point, but that's no good to him really in the series. And Maxim Drabik gets 2. Krutschmar wins, which should certainly impress the home crowd here. They enjoyed that one. Edward Krutschmar, who is progressively improved as the meeting has gone on here tonight. He's now got 6 from 4, so does have a semi-final shot if he can win his last ride. And he's taken a point there off Maxim Drabik. So Krutschmar, Drabik, Fienhager. Well, Brady Kurtz for me got the third place as they went across the line. And that's been confirmed by the scoreboard. So Brady Kurtz third, and Lucas Fienhager out the back. So the Australian Kurtz was third there, gets 1 point, but Drabik gets 2, Krutschmar the winner.
Yeah, Drabik was trying to make sure that that gate 3 was going to give him a bit of a gift there, but he didn't have it all his own way right there. We can see Krutschmar was really thinking about it when he was building up to get into that situation, to get himself to pick the right place out of that gate 1. Whether he was going to be the inside or the outside. I was watching him studying that inside right up against the white line, and they got him into the first corner first, and Maxim Drabik really had to work hard. He actually had to work double hard because Brady Kurtz was trying to get underneath him, and all 3 of these riders were trying to tussle for position by the time they got at the full speed of the first lap. But I would say that Krutschmar really knew what he wanted, and he sealed the deal by making that inside gate work for him. You can't just say anybody's going to have their own way right now tonight. I don't think so. There's a lot of points being thrown around, and anybody can win if they get the right attitude out of the start. Get into that first corner and demand your position. We're
down to 3 riders who can win the series, and one of them is in this heat 15, Bartosz Schmechtala off the outside gate in yellow. He currently trails Maxim Drabik by 7 points overall, and the races remaining are counting down. Dominic Kubera off the inside, Kostigos off gate 2, Holder gate 3 with 6 so far tonight, and Schmechtala in yellow off the outside. Heat 15 gets underway. Schmechtala, a nice launch out off the outside, comes across and then goes straight into the bed. What way went wrong there?
That's not
Bartosz
bad.
Smektala
That's
made
not
the start.
bad.
He's going to try and pick up speed now around the outside, but the way is blocked by Kubera and Kostigov. Smart Smektala going well wide on turn bench 3 and 4. If he makes it, it's a great ride. If not, it's a disaster. Down the inside, Kostigov leads. Kubera in second. Smektala frantically trying to keep his title hopes alive here. Moves back into second, and now will try and dive bomb Kostigov, and Kostigov still race leads.
Oh, he had to come off that outside line and come back to the inside. He had so much speed, but fair play. Bartosz Smektala, I think, rode a sensational first lap there. Got himself in all kinds of trouble out of the start, but he's still got an opportunity now. He's just weighing it up. Can he go the outside line? One last ditch.
He really needs to win here, Bartosz Smektala, and so far, Yevgeny Kostigov is frustrating him. Kostigov Smektala is much quicker as he goes very high again into the first turn. And can he pick up speed this time? Round the outside, Bartosz Smektala gets around Kostigov and gets the advantage. He keeps his hopes alive. Smektala around turns 3 and 4 for a fabulously entertaining victory. Bartosz Smektala in heat 15 over Kostigov. It's Holder in third over Kubera. That was some scrap as well, by the way, for third place, but all about what happened out in front. Smektala made a lovely start from gate 4, and then he went straight when the track turned left on the first bend, and that gave him a real job to do, and he pinned it on the outside all the way around. Then he had to turn back at the right time, did so, and finally made that move to make it stick on Yevgeny Kostigov. Great ride, Smektala over Kostigov, and Jack Holder in third place.
Fair play to Kostigov to hold on to that for the whole time. He didn't know if he should go inside or outside, was trying to just keep the back wheel in that little bit of dirt line the best he possibly can to. Smektala coming from the outside gate there, makes a tremendous start. The bike drives him all the way into the corner, almost so to the point where he couldn't have put the bike down. He reached right out to the outside dirt, but he didn't panic. He stayed there, got his nose pinched off right here by Kostigov because he was in the right position at the right time. Kubera was up on the inside there, taking up that inside gate, and the race began here, and they just were flat out going here. Smektala knew that he had to stay to the outside line. He did cut back to the inside to try to see if he could sneak up on the inside, but he knew he was going to get himself cut off there, and then he had to resort going back to the outside for one last try, and it paid off.
Smektala knew he had to win that race, and boy did he do it on that final lap. Tremendous stuff there. You can almost see the determination in that shot around the outside as he makes it into bend 3 in front, and he is now 4 points behind Maxim Drabik as they head towards the closing stages. Smektala, who only scored 1 from his first 2 rides, is now on 7 for the night, so it's giving him a chance of progression and keeping him in play. Max Frick is next up in heat 16, and he is up against Dimitri Berger, Robert Lambert and Patrick Mikel. Well, the wild card has not scored so far. Lambert's had a really tough night, only scored 2. Berger off the inside could be a danger. He's got 6, and Frick is currently 6 behind Drabik.
You asked me that question, you know, what are the riders thinking? What would be going through their mind right now when they're into these kind of situations? The main thing is you just got to make sure you do not get a last place. That last performance of Smektala proves my point. They just know what is on the line. Lose a point, could lose a championship. Right now, Max Frick is trying to defend it. 7 points, and this right here, he's got the Frenchman on the inside, but probably his toughest contender. He's got to pull this one off.
Frick needs to win this one in white. Berger off the inside of red, Lambert in blue, and they get to the first bend together. And now Frick lifts and goes straight. Now he's going to work from the back because Dimitri Berger leads with Lambert in second place. Lambert coming through on the inside. They're neck and neck, so let's see what Frick can do in third. He turns tight for the inside off the bend, and there's a little lock up there.
Close.
My word, Dimitri Berger locking up, and Frick has to go down the inside. Frick has got from first to first. Max Frick has made it. Frick has made it past Berger after a really tight bend. Lambert hemmed in third, and I'm not quite sure how Max Frick did it, but he has hit the front.
Unbelievable. He got the bike at the right time on the racetrack, got the wheels in line, the bike launched himself into position. He was able to clinch it on the inside, which is very, very hard to do around here sometimes when the guys are on the high line.
Max Frick leads Dimitri Berger, and this title race continues. Maxim Drabik dropped a point in his previous rival, Smektala, and Frick looking set to hit back. They both have to work ever so hard for it, but they both have wins on the board, you would think, as long as Frick gets around this final lap. And now Berger goes wide, giving a chance for Lambert off turn 2, but he can't quite make it through. But all about the race winner here after a nervous start, a tough first lap. It's a win for Max Frick. In second place for Dimitri Berger, Robert Lambert in third place, Patrick Mikel at the back, and the defending champion keeps his hopes alive. Max Frick on to 10 points in the meeting, 3 race wins to his name, and that was some first lap or so of action. And then he came down the inside at the start of lap 2. Not much room against Dimitri Berger. He made it. Frick, Berger, Lambert in heat 16.
I mentioned to you that the riders and the mechanics, they'll be asking each other what's the best way to get the bike set up right. You got to make it a bit aggressive out of the start if you possibly can do. That means shortening the wheelbase up possibly, putting a little bit different kind of jet to slow the back wheel down. Max Frick's bike lifts coming out of the start. See right there, and it lifts again going to the corner. Yeah, exactly. Spectacular, the same thing. They're all looking to get the best out of their bike, but they then got to control it. And when the bike takes them out of control, this is what happens. You have to resort to riding hard. Max Frick goes into the corner, sees that everybody's bunched up on the outside, cuts back on the inside, puts himself in the right position, gets his nose cut off a little bit, but then demands his position by the time he got in a full lap of this heat number 16 up the inside pass. What a tremendous effort from the Australian to be able to get himself into a bad position out of the start, but generally outraced himself, I would say, but in the perfect position. And the first lap, cuts back up the inside, and then gets himself 3 more points.
That takes some doing, doesn't it, to turn that tight? And we haven't seen too many riders move down with 2 alongside him as well, to manage to make that and control it. And you can see the pit crew enjoyed it as well, because that's keeping him, that moves him to within 3 points of Maxim Drabic. And I always say, whenever you're within 3 points, anything can happen, because obviously 3 points, 1 race, 1 engine failure, 1 fall, anything can happen. And if it goes to a final, even if Frick is 3 behind Drabic, for example, that final will be of such quality that Drabic could run a last place anyway, because of the quality of riders around him.
Yeah, well, when we're looking down the races coming up, heat 20, you got Spectala on gate 1, and you got Frick on 4. Now that is 4 races. That's the 4th race of a grading. So there's a good opportunity that gate 4 is going to be quite handy.
And that race is good news for Drabic, because it means that somebody's going to drop points. They're not going to both win their final ride. And Smektala probably slightly more important, because he's not yet secure a place in the semi-final on the night, courtesy of his bad start to the meeting. We've currently got Verina, Frick and Drabic on 10 points tonight. Verina and Frick have both won 3 races. Drabic has won 2. Then Patrick Hansen and Dimitri Berger on 8. Berger with 4 second places. Smektala and Jack Holder on 7. And Lucas Fienhager currently holds the final place in the top 8 on 6. Although there are 3 other riders on 6 points who could overhaul him. Currently, Fienhager on the countback has got 2 race wins. So Krutschmar, Kurtz, Kostegovs also on 6 could also make it through, as could Liaga on 5. So they're the ones that are chasing. But Smektala will have to go into heat 20 almost certainly, needing points to guarantee a semi-final. But he and Frick will be looking to catch up on Drabic. Now, if you look at Drabic's final ride, he's got to face Vrentin, Mikkel and Jack Holder in heat 17. And realistically, you would say that Drabic ought to be capable there. Well, he is fully capable of winning it. But you would think, realistically, only Jack Holder is going to really threaten Drabic in heat 17.
Yeah, I would concur with that one for sure. But, you know, the racing's racing. There's no for sure. You just got to get out there and still prove it. But I would say if I was looking at that race, heat 17, it's Drabic's to lose, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And overall, Drabic on 41, Frick on 38, and Smektala on 37.
To be fair, you know, Maxim Drabic's pretty much dominated the very first round of this series. He dominated.
Oh, he was absolutely sensational, yeah.
And you know, there's a little mishap in the second round when he was in a good position and he got hurt in the semifinal. You know, he pulled off the racetrack, couldn't continue to score any more points. You know, to be in this position is a genuine achievement, I would say.
If you recall, he actually had a fall earlier in the meeting in Gustro when it was when the track was just developing after the rain earlier on, and he came off on the third bend, and that just put him slightly back in the meeting. But then the crash he had, and I'll go back to it again, the crash he had was a real fearsome one on the main straight, and it's great to see it within a couple of weeks he was back in action again.
Yeah, it was. I think there was probably a little bit of luck there. We're just seeing right there Robert Lambert getting interviewed. He's had some bad luck from the word go, and he's never really sparked up in that last race. He threw it in there, but he's not dominating his positions, is he?
Tough season for Robert. He's been carrying a knee injury for much of the campaign, and he had a big crash in Poznan with Kasper Verina, which hampered his challenge after
Cieszę się przede wszystkim z tego, że udało nam się odbyć tutaj trening przed zawodami. Pierwszy raz w tym roku przed Mistrzostwami Świata. No i rzeczywiście ten tor jest bardzo długi i bardzo szybki. Generalnie naprawdę ciężko jest trafić, wstrzelić się w te ustawienia. Zapytam teraz Roberta o te kontuzje, które on odniósł w trakcie tego sezonu. Czy one może gdzieś tam wpłynęły na tą dyspozycję, czy sprawiły, że czuje się mniej pewnie na torze? This season was really unlucky for you due to a lot of injuries. Do you think it makes you feel maybe a little bit unsure or had a bad influence on your form?
Maybe, yeah, but yeah, I'm trying.
Do you think generally we have a very strong crop of
setup
riders at this level?
Just trying different things on the bikes as well.
The Grand Prix riders, the ones that we see at the top of league racing in maybe 3 or 4 years' time. The list of winners of this series, people like the Pawlickis, the Dudeks, the Janoskis. How do you rate the current crop in terms of how they're going to progress?
Well, I think there's a couple of them that stand head and shoulders, to be fair. But the reasons were just identified. You know, with Lambert's injury, we know that Kurtz was riding with an injury at the beginning, so you can't really judge them fairly, I would say. But their desire and their ability, definitely. You know, when things are going your way and you're scoring points consistently and you're having good success all year round without any injuries, you're going to have that little bit more security and confidence when you're in an event like this. And it does shine with Maxime Drabic. He's just really going head and shoulders over the rest of them. I thought Smektala definitely was going to come in and steal it, to be fair, because he came late, but he was consistent at 15 points. 215 points. So, you know, when you look back at the consistency and then you weigh up what their season's been, I would say you would take at least the top 8 top guys out of this thing. They're all capable of going on to being superstars. I think they're superstars now in their own element. It's just that, you know, factors are, some of them came into the season hurt, some of them got hurt during the season.
Well, that's one thing that, again, people tend to forget. We're at the end of September now. It's been a long season, and these riders, and you'll know it from your own career, once it gets to a certain point, you're riding with bumps and bruises, and no one talks about it, and they don't want to talk about it, because if they do, you could see it as a statement of weakness. But they must all be being almost bandaged up almost every week. They've all got their own ailments, and it needs the winter to cure it all. You know, don't stop riding if you're not.
Yeah,
you know.
we're pretty fortunate in this discipline of racing. You can ride with an injury and get away with it. It's only 4 laps. I'm not saying that those 4 laps aren't intense. There's a lot of mind. You have to think a lot in this game. That's why I think the mature riders in their 30s and onwards, the current world champion, individual world championship of his age, Greg Hancock, you know, that mature brain is what pulls you through. Now, injuries help when you're of that age, but when you are riding with, let's say, a bruised ankle or something, you can almost get away with it in Speedway. It's not as aggressive as other disciplines. You feel it, but it's only a short pain, and you get away with it. But when you're 100% and you go out there and you don't have any injuries, it's got to be the best way to go. But your mind still has to be educated, and the only way to get that education is lap after lap after lap, and be put into a position where you're in with the big boys, racing with the big boys and scoring big points as a team. When you're an individual like we're seeing here tonight, this is down to yourself and your team. Which your team is the guys that prepare your bikes and brings you to the events and make sure you're ready to go out there and score the points.
So Drabic on 41, Frick on 38, Smektala on 37. Drabic is first into bat, if you like, in heat 17 of the contenders. He's the first one to try and get more points on the board. And as we've flagged up, this is a race where you would think he should be able to, in all likelihood, score at least a second place, if not get the win. Jack Holder is the man off the outside. Alexander Brentin is on the inside, and Patrick Mikel, who only scored 1 point here as the wild card last year, and that I think was down to someone missing out in terms of a failure. That he has yet to score so far. He goes in white. So Brentin red, Drabic in blue. There is Mikel in white. Holder in yellow. Holder with 7 points so far. Holder will need probably a couple of points here at least to try and secure a semi-final place, and he'll be looking to make his way up the standings. He's currently 8th overall, Jack Holder, and having gone all the way to a runoff for a podium last year, not been quite his year, Jack Holder.
No, again, another victim that you know, had circumstances that's probably held him back a little bit. The very important races, heat number 17. Track just been groomed. boys got to deal with that as well.
Drabic in blue trying to set the pace. Away they go. He's not made a good start though. Brenton's made the start. Drabic has switched back straight away. Brenton has taken Holder wide, and that could be a chance for Maxim Drabic, who comes through on the inside. Brenton round the outside, free abreast, and Drabic is caught in the middle. Drabic goes down to third. Holder has the advantage. Brenton in second. Drabic trying to come back now on the inside of Brenton. They go on to the second lap, and Maxim Drabic still holds that inside line with Jack Holder on the outside, trying to go back around him, and he does. Jack Holder leads Maxim Drabic.
Yeah, this is the time when Holder's got to think. He's holding down the inside here, realizing, oh, look how close they were. That was so dangerous. That back wheel would have hit. It would have been carnage on the racetrack. But Holder's doing an excellent job. He was on the high line to get himself into position. Now he's holding down the inside there. Make sure Drabic's going to resort to that second place, but Drabic's not going to give up that easy.
Holder knows he has to pin the inside here after the track grade. He's done so. It was a very awkward moment for Drabic on the previous lap. He almost crafted him off the fourth bend, and again, 2 points for Drabic here are better than none. But the fact he's dropping one is just keeping Frick and Spectator interested. They come round turn 3 and 4 for the final time, and it will be Jack Holder to win Heat 17 over Maxim Drabic. Brenton in third, Mikel at the back, 2 more for Drabic, moves on to 43. But it's not done yet by any means. Heat 20 features both Frick and Smektala, and one could certainly close in if they win that race. Fine ride by Jack Holder. It was tight again on lap 1 as Brenton got himself involved, and that was the problem for Drabic. He got himself caught in the middle. It's a win for Jack Holder, second Maxim Drabic, and third Alexander Brenton.
So nice that you mentioned about Jack Holder's season not going his own way.
That was one of his best rides.
Yeah, and he was on that gate 4 position, what we think has been probably one of the better gates, but not so good when it's right after a track groom. There's not a heck of a lot of grip on the outside, but Holder's bike gets him into the corner, gets himself in a very nice position there, but gets pushed out a little bit in the first corner. But then he had the speed up to be able to turn the bike, get back up the inside. By the time he got into turn 3, hold that inside line right there, shuffled him up a little bit, pulled away under a little bit of pressure, only for a short bit of time. Drabic was trying to claim a position there in the second, knowing that he could possibly give up another point if he makes any mistakes. Barring the engine failures, both these riders at this point, we're looking at 3 points for the Australian and 2 for the Pole that's leading the series so far, and he's got to say that's good enough. But Jack Holder has got to be the happiest guy to finish off with 3 points in his heat races.
Yeah, Jack Holder finishes with 10. That will be enough for a place in the semi-final. Maxim Drabic finishes on 12. That will be enough also for a semi-final place. Heat 18 features several riders who are trying to join them. Dimitri Berger with 4 second places so far. He rides in red off the inside. Edouard Crutchmar, who's improved as the meeting's gone on. He is in blue with 6. Patrick Hansen with 8, he's in white. And Dominic Kubera with 1, he is in yellow. So really big race here particularly for the 3 off the inside. Berger, Crutchmar and Hansen. A result here for any of them, double figures, and definitely a place in the semis.
So all of it's to race for in this one. Then Heat 18, there's a couple of guys that we're going to make sure they can add the points to their scores and possibly move them forward. The track has been ridden on after the grading. That is a critical factor here on this big 391-meter racetrack. It's flat. There's no real banking in it at all, really slightly maybe, but it's critical to make the start, get track position, either the inside or up on the high line with what little bit of dirt's on it will drive it forward.
So Dimitri Berger inside, Edouard Crutchmar gate 2, Patrick Hansen gate 3, Dominic Kubera outside, Dimitri Berger in red. Makes a really good start there, gets to the bend in front. Crutchmar turns back on turn 2. They are neck and neck up the back straight. It's going to be Crutchmar with the advantage here over Berger. Kubera in third, and Patrick Hansen here out the back as they go round bends 3 and 4 with Dimitri Berger now switching back to try and get the better of Crutchmar. Then have to think better of it, change his mind once again, look to make it outside. He's looked like he's quicker here, but still Edouard Crutchmar has the lead.
Edouard Crutchmar, off of a race win in his previous race, has a lot of confidence coming from gate 2, gets himself in position right there. The Frenchman's trying to pull him offline, but he hasn't been able to do it so far. He's going to have another attempt. He's on the high line. Can he just pull Crutchmar offline? He might have an opportunity, but it doesn't look like he's going to have enough time now.
Points being dropped here by Patrick Hansen at the back. We'll have to wait and see how that affects him on the count back. But Edouard Crutchmar, who only scored 1 for his first 2, could be set to go back-to-back wins in his last two to make it into the semi-final. Came so close in Gustro before crashing on the final bend. Still a threat here from Berger as they go round turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Krujmar holds it tight. Berger has gone wide, but it will be Krujmar to the delight of the home crowd. He wins heat 18 from Berger, who's been very consistent. That's 5 second places for Dimitri Berger, and Kubera notches 3rd place. Had a bad night, Dominic Kubera, but he does pick up a point there over Patrick Hansen, who will have to wait and see where that leaves him overall. But Edouard Krujmar stepping forward, and these are riders who could do damage later on when the contenders are involved. If Krujmar makes a start, you can see what he can do. Krujmar winning heat 18 from Berger with Kubera 3rd.
Yeah, Berger was really trying his hardest to see if he can do something. Come from that inside gate, thought he had an opportunity there. Like you say, he's been scoring points all night long. This is his opportunity to have a race win. Couldn't get to the first corner and secure it. He got there first, but he just drifted offline a little bit, left the hole. Krujmar came underneath him, got his wheels in line, and then he dominated it by staying on the inside pretty much the whole 4 laps. A little bit of pressure from Berger coming from the outside, really trying to do it. But out of the start, you thought that the Frenchman was going to get it, but just slipped offline a little bit too much, left the door open. And that's what happens on this critical track for some, but others it looks quite easy. But we're yet to see who's going to come out on top.
I haven't got a clue who's going to come out on top, if I'm honest, the way it's going.
Yeah.
Berger moves on to 10 points with those 5 second places. Krujmar on to 9 with 2 race wins. That'll be important. Hansen, Patrick Hansen stays on 8 and could now be under serious threat from Smektala in heat 20, and the riders on 6 points who have got races to come in the final couple of races. And heat 20, I mean, it looks more and more crucial with Smektala and Frick and Brady Kurtz as well. That's going to be a big one. But heat 19, let's see what Casper Verina can do. He's in blue, that's Robert Lambert in yellow off the outside, who can't make the semis. But Verina with 10 points so far, and if he wins this race, then he will be leading the standings going through to the final, and we'll get it, the semi-final I should say, and they're going to be getting a first gate pick as a result. Kostigos with 6 on the inside could still make the semi. Verina with 10, he goes in blue. Fienhager has got his 2 race wins, he's in white with 6 points, gate 3, and Lambert with 3 in yellow off the outside.
Yeah, Kostigos on that inside. If he could just hold it down, make a good charge, Verina might not have it all his own way.
Verina in blue looking to put himself onto 13 points. Has not really made the start though. It's a good start from the inside by Kostigos, taking Verina white, gave him a real shove. Lambert turns back, as does Fienhager, and Verina briefly at the back. He's trying to go from 4th to 2nd. He's done so, and can he make it all the way around the outside here of Yevgenis Kostigos round turn 3 and 4. Mid-track line by Kostigos. Back on the inside comes Lambert. Verina switching now to the start of lap 2. He's clamped off by Kostigos, who a race win here will be useful for him. Fienhager is trying to repass Lambert for 3rd and has done so, but Kostigos so far holds Verina at bay.
They have to think hard in this one right here. Verina did have it all his own way for sure, because Kostigos made the start, tried to lean on him in the first corner. It didn't work out. He got shoved out too wide, had a lot of time to make up, and it's looking quite fancy right there for Kostigos on that inside gate. Makes it.
Yeah, we saw Kostigos riding well in the first round in Poznan. This would be his first race win in the meeting. It'll take him on to 9. There's a scrap still for 3rd, with Lambert trying to get it back off Fienhager, whose great start to the meeting is not going to get him into the semis, it would appear, but it's going to be a win coming up here for Yevgenis Kostigos, holding off Casper Verina for the victory. Kostigos does take it over Verina, with Fienhager in 3rd and Lambert out the back. Tough night for Lambert, 3 points from 5 rides. It's going to see him go down the standings as a result. But Yevgenis Kostigos winning heat number 19 and moving himself into the top 8 on the night as things stand. But that may yet change. He's on 9 with 1 race win, but that may not be enough at this stage. Depends on what happens in heat 20. Kostigos wins heat 19, Verina in 2nd place, Fienhager in 3rd.
Just can't ride it, can you, perfectly? You just don't know what's
just so close.
Yeah, Kostigos really made that inside gate work. Verina was really trying to get over the top of him. We'll see now. Verina in blue, thinking he can get over the top of Kostigos. Kostigos gets himself in there first. Back wheel of Kostigos' bike actually pushes him a little bit too wide. Verina now has to work really hard, has to get track position. By the time he got into turn 3, thought he might be able to go all the way around. but everybody's pretty clever at this time of the evening. Everybody's been on the track enough to know where they got to put their bike. The track's coming to some of the riders, and there's still a lot to be proven here. You got to be sharp out of that start. And I would say Kostigov actually made that inside gate work for himself, and he knew exactly where to put the bike, registered a win for himself, put him in half a position on those 9 points. At least he's got a win under his belt anyway.
Yeah, he has 9. It may be enough. We'll have to wait and see. There are riders behind him who have also got race wins, who if they score in Heat 20, score well, they could overhaul him. But more importantly, dare I say, this is a massive race in the context of the series as a whole. We have both Smektala and Frick in this race. Drabik on 43, safely in the semi-final on the night. Frick on 38, he will be in the semi-final as well, but needs points to catch up. Smektala on 37, needs points here, A, to make the semi-final, and B, to catch up overall. So
he needs a second minimum, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Those 2 race wins is going to have to put him in there on 9 points.
But I think really he needs 3 because he's got to catch up with Drabik. He's 6 behind him.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
So crucially important for both Frick and Smektala. Frick is currently 5 behind Drabik, Smektala is 6 behind Drabik, and after this race they'll have a maximum of 2 rides each to come in the series.
7 race wins from Gate 4, Max Frick's Australians on it.
You think he knows that?
Smektala, I don't think he cares, he wants to win. Smektala on the inside, there's been 4 wins on it, can it be 5 right now? Ligair is on Gate 2, there's 5 wins from that, and Kurtz is on 3, only 3 wins from that one.
Vitally important Heat 20. Here we go, and Smektala off the inside made a good jump there. Bartosz Smektala outgates Brady Kurtz. Max Frick's got trouble. Max Frick had a dreadful start. Has he got mechanical failure, I wonder? This could be the end, effectively, of his title defence. He's way behind Max Frick. Something has gone horribly wrong. Bartosz Smektala is taking full advantage. He leads Brady Kurtz, and Frick is retiring from the race and almost retiring from the title chance. He's still got a semi to come. He's still 5 behind Drabik, but Smektala may now be the man who can threaten Maxim Drabik. He comes round to turn 3 and 4, and Smektala comfortably in front of Brady Kurtz.
Yeah, Brady Kurtz holds on to that second place. And unfortunately for Frick, we'll just have to see what happened there, but mechanical failure put him in the center green. Finished that race quite earlier, but Smektala, nice inside gate, got himself out. He's now leading easily.
Well, Smektala had a dreadful start to the meeting, 1 point from 2 rides, but is set to reel off 3 straight wins and keep himself in with a chance. It'll move him to within 3 of Drabik with the semi-finals, and who knows, final to come. A huge setback for Max Frick, but Bartosz Smektala kicks on in Heat 20. He wins it. Second place, Brady Kurtz. Third, Andreas Bleaga, and Max Frick now really only has mathematics to try and help him retain his championship. It is still doable, but he needs Drabik to bomb out in the semi-final to do so, because Drabik leads Frick by 5 points overall ahead of the semi-finals tonight. It's a win in Heat 24, Bartosz Smektala over Brady Kurtz in second place, Andreas Bleaga in third, Max Frick with a retirement. And what that means is that Kostigov stays in. The second place of Brady Kurtz, not enough. He misses out, as does Patrick Hansen. 9 points were enough. Farina, Drabik, Smektala, Frick, Holder, Berger, Krutschmar and Kostigov make the semi-finals.
Yeah, Max Frick's bike just let him down, got it out of the box, start going, and it just dropped its guts for some reason, and he had no power to contend in this race here. But the pole, Bartosz Smektala from that inside gate position, we thought he was going to have a real tough battle in that first corner with the defending under-21 world champion Max Frick in the first corner with him, but he was not to be seen. Quite easy for him. Brady Kurtz was trying to hold on to that second position, was having a big battle for it, but he finally conquered towards the end of this race, went across start-finish line with the 2 points under his belt, but this guy here took 3 and added to his total score. Started off slow, but finishing strong, and more to come.
Smektala with 10 points. There were several riders finishing on 10 tonight. Smektala and Frick doing so with 3 race wins apiece. There is Bartosz Smektala, Jack Holder on 10 with 2 wins, and Dimitri Berger on 10 with no race wins. He's picked up those 5 second places. Now, what this all means, Drabik leads Smektala by 3 points in the series, 43 over 40, and Frick maintains a mathematical chance on 38. But the way things are going to shake up here, Smektala and Drabik will be in the same semi-final. And that, I think, is absolutely crucial as far as Smektala is concerned. He would certainly want that because obviously he wants to win the race, but it doesn't do him any good, particularly if he wins his semi and Drabik also wins his semi. So the fact they're in the same semi will be good for him, because if he wins it, he's definitely taking points off Drabik.
Absolutely. Good analysis of that. It'll be in the heat. That'll be semi number 2.
Yeah.
That will happen. And also got Jack Holder in there, which is coming off of a race win in his last outing.
And Kostigos.
Yeah. So that, nobody's going to have it all their own way, are they?
Like I said, we're in the situation where, yes, we've been watching the battle between Drabik and Smektala and Frick, but as this meeting has gone on, perhaps more than some of the others, there are other riders who are involved and look equally as. I mean, look at the way Krutschmar has come through in the closing part of the meeting.
Yep.
Would you write him off in a semi? And Verena has been solid all the way tonight.
Yep. I would agree with you. These guys all can steal points off each other still. Critical times.
Yeah. So missing out Patrick Hansen, who rode well in the early stages, as did Lucas Fienhager. He misses out too. Brady Kurtz will rue the mistake he made when he the mistake at the start in his first ride, and then his second ride when he went wide off the fourth bend. That's cost him a place in the semi, although he may maintain 4th overall. That will depend on what the likes of Verena and Holder do in the semis and or the final. If they don't score heavily, then Kurtz will still finish 4th overall. But we know the top 3 is going to be Drabik, Smektala and Frick in whichever order.
Yeah.
Frick with 5 points behind needs a miracle. He needs to win his semi and the final and hope that it all goes wrong for Drabik and Smektala in the second semi-final for him to hit back. That mechanical failure was a nightmare for him.
Yeah, you can only hope that something will change from Max Frick's position. But to be fair, Maxime Drabik really has earned his position, I would say, with 43 points, 3 over Bartosz Smektala, even though Smektala's been quite consistent every round, but he's always had a bit of a bad race, hasn't he, at one point or another?
And of course, bear in mind that if Drabik is 3 in front of Smektala, so if Drabik beats Smektala in the semi-final, then that's going to be job done, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's for 3rd place, then Frick could still tie. But for example, if Drabik wins the semi-final and Smektala is 2nd, then that'll be job done for Drabik, because he'll be 4 in front of him with only 1 race to go.
Yep.
So could all be resolved at that stage.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen yet.
We'd rather it go to the final. I'm sure that he wouldn't, but we'd rather it go to the final. But fair play to Smektala, because he's had such a poor start to the meeting. But whether he changed bikes or changed mindset or setup or whatever, but to hit back with 3 successive wins, I think there've been a couple of times where Drabik has played the percentage game. He's been in tight spots. He's not overdone things. And the fact he's had a few second places probably confirms that he's realised that taking those 2 points with a series lead is better than being on the deck with none.
It also shows his vulnerability right here, where Smektala will want to be able to prove that he can actually get him when he is vulnerable.
He has nothing to lose, does he?
Exactly.
Has to go and win.
As Smektala can go out there and actually finish in the semi-final ahead of Drabik, will definitely bring it down to the big final for sure. And I would say Smektala will be thinking that it can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. That's what you got to be doing. But Drabik will have first gate position pick when it comes to picking the gates for that semifinal number 2. And, would he take the inside? I would say possibly.
Yeah, I mean, the outside is the one that's had the wins, but do you
early on,
yeah.
The first 4 wins were from the gate 4, and the track was still yet to settle. But gate 1 has come hard back. It's got 5 wins, as so does gate 2's got 5 wins. So they're equal when it comes to the stats. We know that those stats don't sometimes mean the true story, because you have certain riders are going to be in certain gates and win races no matter what. But in the cases that the stats say, 5 wins from gate 1, 5 from gate 2, 3 from gate 3, and 7 from the outside, and 4 of those were the first 4 races of tonight's event.
But actually, if you look at the point scoring from the gates, and well, thanks as always to Candysoft for supplying this information to us, because we've plugged the numbers in and Nick plugs the numbers out. Inside 2 gates, red and blue, 31 points apiece, and white and yellow, 29 points apiece. Yeah. There's not a great deal in it.
Nope.
We're about to see some gate picks here, I think.
And I think that's the shape of the track, is it really?
There's Verena picking the inside.
Yeah. Okay.
Verena picks the inside. Frick picks gate 2. There's Dimitri Berger picking gate 3, and there's Edward Krutschmar picking the outside. So that's goes red, blue, white, yellow for the first semi-final in terms of the picks. Verena going for the inside gate. So That's really confirmation of what we were talking about here. I think the outside was good early on, but the inside, let's see if Drabic takes the same approach for the second semi-final.
Now, just to give everybody the heads up here a little bit, they've gone out there and graded the track, and they have put some water down, but only slightly, just a little bit compared to what I've seen earlier. So that will give somewhat of a, not such a disadvantage in the first semifinal, but there will be a slight disadvantage because the track does have some water on it. And when we're looking at the consequences of the first semifinal versus the second semifinal, it's more the second semifinal.
He's gone blue. Drabic goes blue.
So
Smektala will go red. Jack Holder yellow and Kostegov's in white. Well, we saw that Drabic and Smektala were having a bit of a chat before the race. I wonder if he was telling him what he was going to do there.
I think the options that the rider has coming from gate 2 just gives him a little bit broader view of the first corner. The guy on the inside will come out of the start, and if he feels he's under pressure, he'll lean to the right a little bit to kind of slow down the guy in gate 2. Then tends to pass the corner up, and the guy in 2 has got the opportunity of turning the bike quicker and coming up the inside. We've seen it time and time again tonight that the guy in the inside sometimes pulls too far off coming off of turns 2. So I guess all those things will be going through his head, and coming from gate 2 might feel that's a better place to be, or he can do a good turn back either way.
Gives him options.
It does.
Options, and
he's trying to protect that lead he's got of 3 points, and if he doesn't lose, if he gets a second, he's dropped a point. He doesn't want to do that.
Absolutely, and we know that the title can be decided in that second semi-final. Max Frick, all he can try and do is win his first semi-final up against Farina, Berger and Krutschmar, but Frick is 5 points behind Drabic at this stage, so unlikely to really be able to feature at the top. We'll see. Strange things can happen, and you never know. The two poles might get in each other's way in the semi-final, in their semi, and miss out completely, and that could yet open the door. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to know what happened to Max Frick's bike. What was the deal there? Because if he's had to go on to a different bike now, maybe fresh bike, he'll have that to contend with as well.
There's the standings as things stand. 43, 40, 38, as we've been telling you. Brady Kurtz in 4th place, obviously nowhere near able to catch up with not being involved in the semi-final and being too far behind anyway, but Drabic 3 in front of Smektala and 5 in front of Frick. That's how things stand. Frick goes in the first semi in blue, Farina there in red, Frick in blue, Berger in white and Krutschmar in yellow.
And to remind them, that's how they picked them as well. Verona had first choice. He comes in on this semifinal one with 12 points. Max Frick comes in at 10 points. Had a disaster last heat. Could have had a couple more points on that total as well, but it didn't happen. So these guys got some racing to do to see if they can add to their total. Only Max Frick will be the one that could possibly make any difference overall.
Yeah, Frick needs to make the final to have any chance of retaining his trophy, and even then he'll need a lot to go his way in the next couple of races. But as I say, put yourself in there, you never know. Kasper Verina off the inside, Max Frick gate 2, Dimitri Berger gate 3, Edouard Krutschmar off the outside gate, and he had to take the outside. That was what he was left with, and he has won his last 2 rides in the meeting. So I suppose you could say he's been judging the track condition, the track change as it's gone on, better than some others.
No doubt about that. The points prove that.
And Max Frick working very hard on gate 2 at the moment. Max Frick currently off his bike, looking for a decent start there off gate 2. As the boys in the second semi are watching on. A lot of tension. You mentioned the tension before the meeting in the pit, Sam, and then we're now getting to decision time, and I think everyone knows what the second semi could bring. But that man in blue there, Max Frick, is still trying to battle on right to the end. Remember, the top 2 here go through to the final, and the points count towards the series as well. Verina inside, Frick gate 2, Berger gate 3, Krutschmar outside the first semi-final here in Pardubice gets underway, and Dimitri Berger with a flyer of a start, which is allowed to continue. Farina moves him aside on the first turn. Through goes Max Frick as well. It's Farina from Frick, and Berger has made a flying start, but it's very rapidly reversed to the back as Crutchmar goes through into third place. So Casper Farina out in front, and his fellow Poles will be happy enough with that. Max Frick in second place, Crutchmar third, Berger at the back. It looks like Max Frick here may go through with Farina, although Dimitri Berger trying to get back around the outside.
Yeah, pretty much as to come out of the start there, I would say Farina was making sure that he wasn't going to let that gate one disappear from him. Got the 3 points out in front of Frick. Frick's now starting to weigh up the track a little bit. I say that water, it's only a little bit of water, is definitely playing its part, though.
Dimitri Berger now trying to get back down the inside of Crutchmar, which he does with a very forceful move down the inside. We've not seen too much contact now. There's been lots of close racing, fair racing, and back on the inside, Crutchmar once more. They're battling for third place, but as things sound, it's Farina and Frick who are going through. Berger has the third place with Crutchmar at the back. Disappointment for the home crowd here, who their man will miss out. But Casper Farina, can he win here in Pardubice? Well, he wins the semi-final. Farina over Frick. Third place is Berger and Crutchmar at the back. So Farina and Frick proceed into tonight's grand final. Frick moves on to 40 points. He's 3 behind Drabik. So if Drabik doesn't score in the semi-final coming up, then Frick still has a chance. So that's the only chance he's got. He's 3 behind at this stage. And Farina moves on to 31 and could yet snatch 4th overall off Brady Kurtz.
It's all about ifs now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's if this second semi-final.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we just leave that one alone for a second there. A good ride for Farina, though, to get himself into position. 12 points coming into this semi-final one. First pick, takes gate 1. He made a decent start. I would say that the Frenchman, though, did a better one from that gate number 3 there. Gets himself in there, but just passes the corner. I believe the opportunity for the Australian Frick to come up the inside there, and I think they just settled down at this point there. The track probably having a little bit too much greasiness on it because they had to put a little bit of water down just to keep the dust down. The second semifinal will definitely be a much more performance one, I would say, but still a good result for Farina to be able to get himself in front from the start. A little bit of a tussle here for Crutchmar to get into position there for slightly. It was almost going to take that third, but still decent race, semifinal. But we know the result of that one. Farina and Frick going through to the final now.
So after Poznan, Gustro, and 21 races here in Pardubice, it could come down to the next race. The second semi-final, Bartosz Smektala off the inside. There is Maxim Drabik in blue off gate 2. Yevgenis Kostigov in white off gate 3. Jack Holder in yellow off the outside. Now, if Drabik scores here, he will ensure that Frick cannot catch him.
Yep. If
Drabik beats Smektala, then Smektala can't catch him either. 3 points behind. So whatever position he finishes in, if Drabik beats Smektala, even if it's 3rd and 4th, then Drabik will be champion. Other way round, it's if Smektala beats Drabik, then it's very much all on for the grand final.
Wow, good one. So we could have a new world champion in this
As long
race.
as, of course, if it's 3rd and 4th that way round, that's still good news for Drabik because Smektala wouldn't have a final ride to try and overhaul him.
The positive,
that'll bring in Frick.
The positive side of this right now is Maxim Drabik could be world champion in this race, the semifinal number 2. If he goes out and just beats Smektala.
He wins it,
He wins it, it's clinch. If he beats Smektala, he can still do it.
Yep, absolutely. So Smektala inside. Drabik took gate 2 in blue. He's happy to go there. Kostigov's in white off gate 3 and Holder in yellow off the outside. The second semi-final, and we could see a champion crown here in Pardubice. And Drabik made a fantastic start. Drabik has made an absolutely rip-roaring start, and Smektala tries to move him aside on the second turn, and Smektala has got to pass Drabik here with Holder trying to move around the outside in 3rd place. Well, we've seen Smektala come from the back before. Can he do it here? Race on for 3rd place, meanwhile, as Kostigov and Holder go at it. But Maxim Drabik, we've seen him so many times this season when the big start's been required. He's found the big start, and he's 2.5 laps away.
Fabulous start from Drabik. When it counted, he made the start. He's going to be under pressure. He's going to be listening to his bike go around this racetrack. 391 meters. Mechanically is the only thing that can stop him right now, unless Smektala can pull off the move of the night, and I think he's running out of time.
Well, Smektala has switched to attack. He's trying to go wide on bends 3 and 4, trying to find more speed. I don't think that really worked, and Drabik pulled clear on turn 3 and 4. for the third time, and Maxim Drabik is en route to glory in the World Under-21 Championship. He's leading Smektala. They'll both make the final, but Drabik will hold a 4-point advantage, which cannot be turned around, and Maxim Drabik comes off the final bend, and Maxim Drabik is champion in 2017. He beats Smektala in the semi-final, and Maxim Drabik, after scoring 21 points in the first round in Poznan, then a big crash in Gustro, but he's come back from injury and he's hit back and made the final here and beaten Smektala, and it's celebrations for Maxim Drabik in 2017. What a fantastic achievement by Drabik. Smektala has fought all the way, but when the start was required, it was the start by Maxim Drabik in the semi-final.
No doubt about it. His pit crew down there to congratulate him. He kept his composure right to the end. Come off that big crash in Gustro. There's his father right there. Just keeping a cool, as he's been doing the whole series. I talked to him when we were in Poznan and barely could crack a smile. The pressure was so immense to them to go out there and do the business. But Maxim Drabik pulled off a great start out of gate number 2. He chose gate number 2, first choice of gate positioning, and it proved big time for him. He is now the under-21 European World Champion.
Absolutely fantastic performance by Drabik as they set up by the 21, and look at what it means. Yeah. Maxim Drabik, and don't forget he had a massive injury last year, lost him almost the entire season after a crash in Sweden. So to come back from that, and then the mental strength to come back from the big crash in Gustro, rode last weekend and has showed up tonight, and everyone's been throwing stuff at him. They've been trying to catch him. They haven't quite managed to do so. Smektala has been excellent all the way as well, and he and Frick will now contest second place overall, because Drabik is 4 in front of Smektala. Frick is a couple of points further behind, but I'm sure he'll be very relieved to have that all done and dusted in time before tonight's final. He can go out and enjoy that and try and win the meeting without the pressure of the overall series. Confirmation of the result of the second semi-final: Maxim Drabik the winner and the champion in 2017, Bartosz Smektala second, and Jack Holder third. And we'll see, I'm sure, very shortly, a replay of that start, which was a fantastic start from gate 2.
Yeah, if Smektala could have just made the start here, we'd have been 1 point off of keeping his consistency when it comes to scoring over the rounds. He's 15 points in his first one, 15 in his second one, and this one here, he's going to end up only scoring 13 points after the result of this one. But it was all about Maxim Drabik. Makes the start of his life. A world championship was on that start, and he pulled it off. He's been riding well. Started off the series unbeaten at Poznan, 21 points. Comes out here with that 1-3-3 on the back out of the start. Gate number 2, his choice. Makes the start of the night. Gets himself out in front and clinches the world championships.
He goes through to the final on the night, along with Smektala from that race, and Verena and Frick in there too. But there is the confirmation of the standings as we have them. Drabik with 46 now, cannot be caught. Smektala 42, Frick 40, so they could still contest second overall. And then Verena could overhaul Kurtz for fourth. A good finish by Verena, because remember the trouble he had in Poznan with first bend crashes, where he crashed with the Lambert, then he parked himself on top of the fence on the second bend. So Verena has come back strongly. He also made the final in Gustro, so he's done well, and Holder edges out Lambert in the race for the top 6. Lambert finishes 7th on 27, and Berger and Liaga tied for 8th on 25. So here are the gate picks for the final. Casper Verena picks red inside gate for Verena. There is a very, very happy Maxim Drabik. Max Frick there takes white, and Bartosz Smektala ends up with yellow there in the grand final. So Verena will be fancying his chances, and here we have a grand final again with 3 Polish riders, and I suppose it's no great surprise. They are the world under-21 team champions, so they've got such a strong quartet. When you look at tonight, Dominic Kubera has not had a good night by his standards, but 3 of these 4 poles up at the front again, and they are quite clearly the dominant force at this level. Yeah, at the top level as well.
Yeah, they just keep proving it time and time again that they're kind of grounding, I would say, with their tracks and availability. And Poland, they're all the shape and the big tracks that they are, the opportunity that they have to be on those racetracks are just working out in their favor. They keep breeding success. They got good equipment, fast tracks, got the skill on the fast tracks, and it just keeps showing. If you put them on small little tight tracks, it might be a different story, but all the championships tend to be on the bigger tracks. A lot of the stuff in the Grand Prix are a bit tricky, but time has showed that the younger guys are learning that that's part of the ingredients. You got to be able to contend with the man-made tracks as well as the permanent tracks, and they seem to keep adapting to them, don't they? And they learn year after year the setups and the ability to and the skill to be able to prove that they are the force to be leading in most of the competitions these days.
A really entertaining meeting here tonight. The track conditions have changed and the riders have been reacting to that, but we've seen some fantastic racing and very fair racing. We've not seen massive contact. We've not seen riders flying into the air fence, touch wood, with one race to go. But it's been a real spectacle here. Been really good.
Yeah, I've been impressed because I kept, and I hope I've people notice the fact that you have to be thinking on tracks like these, and especially with Gustro whenever the rains and the conditions there. But again, a whole different set of rules here on this 391-meter racetrack with the conditions of the grading and the watering on it. These are all things that riders have to contend with, and I found in my career, the times I've raced in this track, I've never succeeded to win a championship of any sort when I've been here. I've had lots of race wins, but I could never clinch the deal because the starting's so important. So all those ingredients just educates the rider, and if you can go out there and we got a final now to be won, and if Maxime Drabec can pull this off right now and win this, then fair play to the guy. He's a true champion.
What is the mentality now? He's won it. It'd be a weight off his shoulder. He'll have been thinking for the last 3 weeks about the lead he's got going into the meeting. That's now all been dealt with. So how do you approach this final now? There's no pressure. Just enjoy it.
Well, I think you would. Everybody's different, and I would say that you would think he'd want to win it without any doubt about it. But there's 3 other guys that will want to win it as well.
And Verina off the inside is, of course, had the pick of gates. Maxime Drabec goes off gate 2. Max Frick off gate 3, the outgoing champion, but he's still going to be on the podium this season. And Smektala in yellow off the outside, and still plenty of work being done on the starting gates. The presentation parties are getting ready on the centre green. We're going to have 2 presentations tonight, one for the meeting itself and one for the series as a whole at the start of a busy weekend of racing here at Pardubice. And the riders coming into line for the final one of tonight in the Under-21 World Championship, round 3. It's Verina on the inside, Drabec off gate 2, Frick off gate 3, and Smektala off the outside. Here we go then with the grand final in Pardubice. It gets underway, and it's Drabec is getting to the bend in front of Verina. Frick has gone wide. Smektala goes shooting through the gap with Frick going wide to try and get back round him again, and he's forced out by Smektala. It's Drabec in front, the champion. He race leads. The scrap is on for second, third, and fourth. Verina tries to push through now. Smektala gets squeezed out. Frick goes through into second. If Frick does get second with Smektala at the back, there'll be an extra race here for a second place. Verina is in third, currently splitting them, and now can Smektala get back on Verina, who's trying to get past Frick. Great races, Sam.
Absolutely. Well, they're actually a credit. Maxime Drabec wants to win everything, so he's out in front. He's already won the championship, and he made an awesome start to get himself out in front again.
And Verina passes Max Frick, which is good news for Smektala. Frick will try and go back round the outside. If Verina gets the better of Frick, then Smektala is second overall. They're starting off now, and Frick is losing out to Verina. Smektala can't quite land the challenging blow. Verina's thinking about threatening Drabec now as they go the back straight for the final time. Maxime Drabec still with the lead. Verina in second, Frick in third. Smektala at the back. He's the champion and he's the winner here in Pardubice. Maxime Drabec wins it. Second place, Kasper Verina. Third place, Max Frick, and Bartosz Smektala at the back. Smektala will still finish second overall because Frick lost out there to Verina midway through that race. But Maxime Drabec, well, I said, how's he going to react to being the champion? Is the pressure going to be off, the weight off the shoulders? He made another great start. He won that final, and having won the final in Poznan, he's now won here in Pardubice. 2 meeting victories out of 3. A very worthy champion, Maxim Drabic.
Really, really good result for the pole. 3 of the poles in this one going for it. 1 Australian. Max Frick couldn't pull off anything better than a 3rd place in there, but Maxim Drabic did it out of the start. What an awesome champion to be able to go out there and back it up. Immense pressure to do that. The question was asked whether or not he would have the right frame of mind, knowing that he's already clinched the title, what he can do the result this grand final. Well, this proves his point. Out of gate 2, makes the start, gets himself into the corner, clamps it down to the inside, puts his front wheel close to the inside curve. He really never looked back after this point. He just kept to the business point of things, just kept the bike in the right position all the way around this 391-meter racetrack of Pardubice, and he just kept it going. Here's another look at him getting into the first turn. Knew what he had to do. He wanted to win it, wanted to go away, winning the last race, the final of this meeting and this series as the under-21 world champion. Proved to everybody he deserves to be here. He's done it the easy way, if there ever was one, making the start and then going out there and never looking back.
Big scrap on for the other places, and the outcome of all that is that Verena has now overhauled Brady Kurtz overall. So Verena finishes in 4th place on 33 points to Brady Kurtz's 32. Drabic has won the series by 7 overall from Smektala, with Frick in 3rd place, and they are Drabic is having his more celebrations down by the pits gate, and Smektala coming along too. And I think there's a decent friendly rivalry between Smektala and Drabic. They were up against each other in the Polish playoffs last weekend in the grand final, with Lejno winning, with Smektala in that team, Drabic for Wrocław. But Smektala, immediately after he'd won that meeting in Gustro 3 weeks ago, his thoughts were with Drabic after the crash, and said, yes, I want to win this series, but I want to win it against Drabic. I want Drabic here in Pardubice when there was the injury question, and there you can see the 2 young Poles together. They are 1-2 in the series.
And you got Raff there. That's Greg Hancock's chief mechanic, and they're helping out Smektala. So it's nice to see that they got some experienced guys in the pits as well, helping these young guys fulfill their dreams. And I say these top 3 guys here will be extremely happy that they've had the opportunity to come out here and compete in a very highly contested event.
Very much so, and we'll shortly be seeing them on the victory podium. We'll be hearing that familiar Polish national anthem once again as well, and Maxim Drabic very much the champion in 2017. 21 points in the first round, but an almost as impressive 18 here tonight. Few second places during the regular stage of the meeting, just keeping the points ticking over. He's now walking out down the home straight. Smektala is joining him, and some of the other riders are going to be involved in the final ceremony, also making their way out. But you can see the release of tension on Maxim Drabic now. It's all been worthwhile, and the pain of the big crash in Gustro is forgotten, because here's a rider with a big future. You win this series, you go on to decent things, and it won't be too long before we see Maxim Drabic, I think, up amongst the real big boys of the sport. He's just having a word with some of the fans who are here, just over the fence. Bartosz Smektala has gone over the fence as well, and there's quite a few Polish fans here as they've made the trip, and celebrations taking place down here. And meanwhile, Verena is making his way onto the centre green, because of course he's on the podium on the night. Max Frick as well. He's Max Frick 3rd on the night and 3rd overall. Lots of photographers here for the weekend, with the golden helmet in particular taking place here on Sunday. But they're going to have to rescue the 2 young Poles from the crowd here on the home straight before they get the presentations underway.
Super stuff.
Yeah,
super stuff.
Good racing tonight. Really good, really good meeting. And did we have a single forward tonight? I'm trying to recall. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. We got a couple of close ones, but
yeah.
A couple of close clashes, but no, I don't think there was.
Yeah, which is again really impressive from a young field all battling for big honours, and we have seen some of these meetings descend into carnage in years gone by. Thinking of the meeting at King's Lynn last year, for example, and even Poznan this year under the circumstances when there was heavy rain during the day. That was not easy for anyone, but this, we've had a great weather day. We've had a fairly prepared track, one that's been fair for everyone, and the outcome has been a really good, enjoyable race meeting here in Pardubice tonight. And we're about to, I think, get set for the podium ceremony. I imagine we're going to be starting with the meeting itself, round 3, and that would be Frick in 3rd place, Verena in 2nd, Drabic in 1st. Drabic will be on the top of both podiums here this evening, but it's quite an entourage on the centre green there, Sam. It's obviously it's a popular trip for the photographers.
Yeah, it's well, the festive feeling when we came into the venue today, me and you both. We didn't have a parking pass, so we had to kind of negotiate our way through. We finally got our accreditations and was able to participate and walking through all the market stalls and all the people outside enjoying the food and the drink. And a lot of them were photographers and stuff that are huddled around a certain area, and they seem to all be out there on the center green at the moment, ready to capture the glory shots of these riders. Still, it's just what this event always brings. Every year I've been here, there's always a number of people. They'll take 2 or 3 days and enjoy it, and treat it as a bit of a a working holiday, as well as having some relaxation time as well. So it's good.
Yep, we're about to see the riders appear on the podium, and really has been a fantastic year. As I mentioned, Drabic with a big injury last season, so to come back and be as good as he has been, and really is great credit to him. But they finally retrieved Smektala. He's running across the track now to rejoin everyone to get set for the celebrations. He'll be on the podium for 2nd in the series overall. But these meetings always they throw up riders who certainly enhance their careers. And you look at Kasper Verena, for example, had a terrible first round, but 2 really strong meetings since then, and we're seeing what he can do. We saw him ride well in the Speedway Best Pairs too at Gniezno. So plenty of riders here will have enjoyed what they've done in 2017, and can hopefully move on to bigger and better things in years to come.
The weather played its part, finally. Sunshine all
yeah,
day.
Finally.
It's cooled down, though. It's definitely chilled off a little bit. And again, the bikes will be reacting to that, too. So these guys have been educated on that side of it again. At critical times of trying to win a world championship, you got to get the setups right.
I think we're getting the announcements for the presentation on the night. 3rd place for Max Frick, who's been trying to defend the title, and let's not forget trying to do it coming back in the last 2 rounds from serious injury, and it's been in very good form in the last couple of weeks. But it's 3rd and it's bronze for Max Frick in tonight's meeting, finishing just short, but overall a good season for him. Trophy presentation for the young Australian, who, as I mentioned, has been getting some Grand Prix experience in the last few weeks as a replacement rider. Here's Kasper Verena onto the podium in 2nd place on the night, his best of the season, but 2 really good meetings for him after a tough one in Poznan. And a bit frustrating for him that it's the one in his home country that he struggled in, but I think conditions did play a big part in that meeting. Always a celebratory scene.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And, that makes him tougher, brings character out. That's for sure.
And it's all about consistency over 3 rounds. And Drabic, despite crashing out in the 2nd round, in the end, was the most consistent over 3 rounds. Winner on the night, Maxim Drabic. Didn't quite match the 21-point feat of the first round, but wasn't far off, and generally rode safely and securely here this evening. And then he picked up big starts at the crucial time.
Super happy guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, biggest night of his career with the big individual title. So I think we're going to get the trophy first. And the Czech Republic have certainly put on a fine show here in Pardubice this evening. It's another busy weekend for them. There's lots of racing on this circuit. And Drabic holds the trophy aloft as the winner of tonight's meeting. Top three with the further wreaths and awards. Clutch of Polish fans right in front of us here in the main grandstand, chanting his name, chanting for Drabic and Varina. Photographs being taken. Just waiting to find out if we're going to get the anthem here or when we do the presentation. I think that might be when we get the overall presentation. So the top three leave the rostrum for the time being, although a couple of them are going to be back in a moment. And we will get the presentation for the top three in the series overall. Just waiting for the announcements to take place. There's the clutch of photographers I mentioned.
Armed and ready to go.
Yeah. Yes, at the end of or approaching the end of a very busy year for them as well. Big Grand Prix in Torun, of course, next weekend to effectively round off the European season in terms of the Grand Prix. Don't forget, we have the final rearranged round of the Speedway Euro Championship coming up in 3 weeks' time on the 14th of October in Lublin. So look out on Eurosport for coverage of that, because we've still got the battle with Andrzej Lebedev trying to hang on to that one. Max Frick in third place in the series, won it last year. Couldn't quite repeat the feat this time around, but he scored 46 overall last year. He scored 41 this year, so he is again highly consistent, and it's still a good season to work. As I mentioned, with the serious neck injury, he felt his season could well be over. So he's come back. He's still scored important points, and Frick with a good third place overall there.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed, but at the same time, he's up there on the podium, and that's a feat in itself, being able to stand up on top of a podium of three riders. Your name goes in the record book as being in that position, and it's not a bad place to be.
Now, I hadn't seen Bartosz Smektala riding live until the practice for the World Cup final in Leszno, and he was really impressive. He didn't ride in that meeting, but he looked on the pace with his other teammates. He looked just as comfortable indeed. And again, another young Pole with a massive future.
Absolutely, fairly consistent, but not consistent on any one of the nights. But overall scoring of each one of the rounds, just missed out on beating his scores. He's only got 13, I think, overall tonight, but he's 15 on his first two rounds each. He would like to have been up a little bit better, but you know, that's what happens. You got to be consistent on the night and not have any ducks or third places if you possibly can.
Yeah, and he just started off tonight with if he won his first ride, it could have all been even more pressurised, but it wasn't. And in the end, it was the ride in the second semi-final which clinched the title overall and the title of EcoDeer FIM World Under 21 2017, and it goes to Maxim Drabic. He's getting used to the walk up to the run up to the top of the podium, and he's won the meeting just as he won in Poznan, and that seems a long time ago, back in the middle of July. But he is on the top once again. That the jacket now as the world champion, and that is a huge honour at whatever level you're racing at. He is world champion. No one, whatever he goes on to achieve later in his career, can't take away the feeling of being the world champion.
No, you just look in the program here as we're reading through it. You see all the guys that have won the world championships. First, second, and third are listed. So as I said, Max Frick won't be disappointed, but Maxim Drabic would definitely be super happy to have won his world championship.
And here is the anthem. Polish anthem sounds out for Maksim Drabik, not only the winner on the night, but more importantly, the series champion, the world champion at under-21 level in 2017. Up on the podium with his Polish compatriot Bartosz Smektala and the outgoing champion Max Frick. All riders with big futures in the sport and getting major honours. Here is a trophy for Drabik, and that will be presented to him now. Polish flag is draped around Smektala. He got that from the Polish fans who are singing along to "We Are the Champions" right in front of us. Polish Speedway just is on such a high at the moment with the strength in depth of their riders, and they just keep on winning. Champagne celebration time then. Maksim Drabik, Bartosz Smektala, and third placed Max Frick at the end of the World Under-21 Championships.
Many more championships to come out of all these guys. Young blood. Super. They were very.
He's on his way.
Yeah, they're very happy to now at the minute. But remember, when we walked to the pits earlier.
You said there was not much talking taking place.
No, they were all focused on what their job was in front of them. And now they can relax a little bit. You can just see the pressure relief valve has come off now, and they're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I mentioned Drabik and Smektala were involved in the Extra Liga Grand Final last weekend, so their club seasons are over. There are a few outstanding playoffs taking place in Poland for league statuses, league positions for league places for next year, and Max Frick will still hope to be involved in events for Bellevue, but we'll have to wait and see how that one rounds out tonight in the UK. And indeed, they will have the Knockout Cup as well. So Max Frick does still have racing to come this season, whatever it is in league or cup or both. But for Drabik and Smektala, well, that's somewhere to go, and they'll be looking forward to the winter, and no doubt looking to further their careers even more in 2018 as they get together for the final podium shot here in Pardubice, and the what's now become the obligatory selfie after these big events. And there are the fans who are so just down in front of us here in the main stand. We're high up above the start-finish line here in Pardubice this evening, and we've enjoyed a terrific night entertainment. Been really good to watch. Lots of good, close, fair racing. And I don't think there's too much doubt over the 3 rounds. Drabik has been the most consistent. The point scoring demonstrates that, and also Max Frick down there as well. But Drabik with the additional photos being taken, and there's confirmation of how he did it. 49 points with Bartosz Smektala on 42, Max Frick on 41, and Borina does edge out Kurtz in the battle for fourth place, 33 over 32. So, Sam, thoroughly enjoyed it. What a good series it's been in the end. And certainly the last 2 rounds, Gustro in here, really entertaining.
We're so glad we didn't have one sport weather today. The track was absolutely in good shape. Consistent as it always is. The weather was gloomy through the whole time we've been here. Superb night.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sam, and appreciate your input as always. Hope you've enjoyed watching the online coverage of all 3 rounds of the World Under-21 Championship, bringing this series to a new audience hopefully this year, and seeing the talent that's coming through the Speedway ranks. It is great to see, and there's certainly the future of the sport is in very good hands indeed, based on what we've seen in the last few weeks. So 3 rounds done and dusted. Poznan, Gustro and Pardubice, and we have a very worthy champion at the end of it all. Max Frick couldn't quite defend it. He finished in 3rd place. 2nd place for Bartosz Smektala, but your 2017 EcoDeer FIM World Under-21 champion is Maksim Drabik. Many congratulations to Maksim Drabik, and we look forward to seeing how his career develops as the years go on. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and from me, Dave Rowe, and Sam Malenko alongside me, a very good night.
Good night.